just have fun and be dumb. Oh, it actually started. It just caught that. And who are all these dumbasses talking about the earth being flat? I mean, obviously, they know nothing of science. If you just watched the video that we just did, I have the mad scientist right here, Tish, who's helping me out here on let's just try and understand the stupidity of the flat earth people. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
So there's got to be some stuff, like some truth to some things that they're saying. Like people have seen stuff for it to be so widely accepted.
Listen, the science is final, as we just discussed. Okay.
Okay.
Don't quit, you science denier, baby. Okay, here we go, boys and girls.
Welcome to OTD TV.
Kill the programming.
Yeah, right. Anti-science here. The case for a flat earth, like really?
The Earth is officially classified as an oblate spheroid, meaning that it's bulging at the equator and it's flattened out at the poles. Here's a short clip with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
So Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning, and it got a little wide.
It's what? It's an oblate spheroid? That, I mean, this guy just doesn't even know science. Come on.
Wider at the equator than it does at the poles. So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate, and officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby's a good way. It's like pear-shaped.
It's pear-shaped. So apparently it's a pear-shaped oblate sphere.
Hey, look, these are pictures from NASA, people. NASA put out these that doesn't look oblate to me. Perfectly round blue marbles, right?
Sounds fine to me, but there seems to be issues when NASA puts out images of the Earth.
They're always perfect spheres, and some of these are claimed to be single shots. Not only that, but the images that NASA gives us are never really consistent. Here's 3 separate NASA images of the Earth, and North America is a different size on each one.
Come to find out that NASA photoshops their images using CGI composites.
In 2002,
how dare them question NASA? I mean, it's like science. Wait, so they're saying NASA did the CGI? Really?
Blue Marble 2.0. NASA's Rob Simon made this. And it had wide appeal too. For example, it ended up as the default background on the iPhone. So the land layer here comes from...
Wait, so that is CGI?
I don't know. When did the first one come out?
1968.
1968?
Yeah.
The first movie to use CGI was Jurassic Park in 1993.
Proof. But wait, he actually just said I guess NASA said it actually was CGI. Maybe NASA had the technology
perhaps
for CGI. Okay.
The Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer aboard Terra.
They stashed the clouds for later, went onto the ocean. That came from an instrument that measures phytoplankton in the sea.
Where it was low, I colored it dark blue because they're low mostly in mid-oceans. And then where it's a little bit higher, it was like a little bit brighter green.
Then add the clouds back in.
It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Then
there was another.
What? That's NASA that said that? It is Photoshop, but it has to be?
A layer to sort of simulate the atmosphere.
What?
Then add the clouds back in.
It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Then
there was another layer to sort of simulate the atmosphere.
And then there's this little bright spot.
It's called the specular highlight. So
wait, so they don't just, can we just see a raw picture, NASA, of what you see? How about that? I mean, surely we got like millions of photos of that, don't we? Okay.
So it's the reflection of sunlight off of water.
Those are the pieces, but you can't just slap them all together.
It just didn't look realistic. It looks kind of flat, or the clouds are sort of too see-through. So I just hit Command Z a lot.
There's artistry to creating the world.
What I imagine it to be. Unfortunately,
there's artistry to create the world? That's interesting. Huh. Okay. I mean, it does make sense as peons we don't even know what we're looking at. You know what I mean? If they just show us what they see, from their satellites and stuff out there. Oh, I mean, they're just giving us a good picture there, right?
Fortunately, I'm not an astronaut. I've never been to space. I'm getting results that I like, but I think it's a little bit exaggerated. So I'm working on some techniques to try to tone it down a little bit.
So here we are in 2018. and we can't trust that we've ever seen a true image of the Earth from a distance. On one hand, we're told that we live on an oblate spheroid, and on the other hand, NASA pumps out cartoon balls that are perfect spheres.
Speaking
Wait, is that true? We don't even have one picture of what the Earth actually looks like out there?
What did they say that came from NASA too?
No, this isn't from NASA.
Okay.
Huh.
of oblate spheroids and perfect spheres, both of them would have detectable curvature, right? Well, it's not showing up for anyone who tries to find it.
Let's jump right to the current world record for long-distance landscape photography. This photo defies the curvature of Earth.
Now, my dad is an architect, and he did say that architects that build bridges, just a bridge, like a long bridge, they actually have to account for the curvature of the Earth. We know this to be a fact of science. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Even with the heights of both mountains factored in.
Okay, so since this is all in meters, let me convert this to feet. 4102. That's 13,458. Again, that's what Bill said. 13,458 was the elevation for the distant mountain range. And from this other place right here, which is at 2820. And just to confirm, yep, 9251 and change, so 9252, let's just say, round it up. That's the altitude of the photographer. So we go to, let's just go ahead and copy that. Go to the Earth curve calculator here, everybody likes to use. And let's say that's the height of the observer, 9251.969. And the distance at 440 kilometers away. Let's do this as kilometers and miles. 273.403. 273.403.
273 miles
So
away.
what is supposed to be hidden according to this?
So that picture is 273 miles away. So it should be, down below the horizon. Okay.
Yes, the horizon's at 117.799969 miles away, according to this. If you're here, this is at that altitude, your horizon is going to be at 117.8 miles away. And the target over here should be 16,140.1805 below your ability to see it. So let's do something else here. We'll use a little calculator here and see what the difference is. 16,140.1805. Subtract the height of the mountain, which was again 13,458.005. So if I'm understanding this correctly, then the top of that mountain range should be 2,682.1755 feet below the curvature. In other words, about a half mile below the ability of the observer to see it.
273 miles away. It's mind-blowing. From point A to point B, the shortest car ride would be 8 hours.
Huh. I mean,
Here is a
surely,
picture of the Bolivian salt flats.
surely his science is wrong. Come on.
This is over 4,000 square miles and is called the world's biggest mirror. This place is so flat that it defies the curvature of the Earth. There are many instances of people documenting the non-existence of curvature. These are just a couple of my favorites. Another way we know that curvature doesn't exist is because of amateur balloons. This one reached a height of 121,000 feet, and you'll notice that the horizon is at eye level. This is inconsistent with a sphere, as you would have to look down to see the horizon as you ascended.
Let's watch another high altitude balloon.
Are they rigging this, Tish? Because we just solved the theory of relativity times the square root of the flux capacitor gigawatt, and we found that the Earth is a perfectly round shape that was, by the way, created out of nothing about 5.867 billion years ago, according to our calculations. Now, the universe we thought was 13.2 billion years old, but then more science came in and it became 13.8 billion years old. But then even you found out No, it's more like 14.06776 billion years old. But then Fishy Foods realized no, it's actually 27.677 billion years old.
I don't know if
So-
it's fake or not. Question everything.
Question everything. We can't trust these damn flat earthers. Come on.
It's always flat when you're not using a fisheye lens on the camera.
Cameras with fisheye lenses force a curve onto the image.
This is why we saw curvature in the Felix Baumgartner Red Bull jump.
It's a fisheye lens, because a normal lens would have shown a flat horizontal horizon like we saw in the video at 121,000 feet.
Yeah, right. How do you know it's a fisheye lens? I mean, obviously that was the Earth curving, right? Right.
See, Felix Baumgartner's jump was from 128,000 feet. So that's only a 7,000 foot difference. There wouldn't be that drastic of a curve change from no curve to a bunch of curve. See, and a fisheye just makes everything look round. So behind Felix Baumgartner, it's nothing but New Mexico.
Oh, wait. Oh, so everything that we see here is just New Mexico?
I don't know. Well, wouldn't the rest of it be distorted too? Like the capsule and everything, where it's rounded with the fisheye?
Wouldn't everything else be distorted with the fisheye?
Yeah, like this capsule be rounded off.
Would it?
Would think so.
Interesting. They're going to maybe show us some more fisheye effect, but this is just New Mexico below, apparently.
And I'm pretty sure half the earth, or 75% of the earth, isn't covered by New Mexico. So a popular belief that is constantly used as proof for the globe is boats disappearing behind the horizon. But this is actually just an optical illusion. Humans can only see so far. But with super zoom cameras like the Nikon P900, or even just a telescope or some binoculars, you can bring back ships and boats that have appeared to go over the supposed curve of the earth.
Well, they don't know science, dude.
Yeah, I don't buy that one. I feel like that one's not quite over that curve yet.
Did you know that the word horizon stems from horizontal? The definition of horizontal is as follows: parallel to the plane.
How far away was that boat?
That one, I don't think they said a distance, but it was saying that the lens could bring it back
Of the horizon.
Yeah.
But when they even zoom in, you can see that there's still a horizon behind the boat.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I just don't think it was out far enough.
Did you know that the word horizon stems from horizontal? The definition of horizontal is as follows: parallel to the plane of the horizon, at right angles to the vertical. Synonyms: level, flat, plane, smooth, even. All right, it's called a horizon, not a curvizon.
Now let's have a look at the characteristics of water. Water always finds its level and always ends up perfectly flat when undisturbed. It's one of the easiest things to understand. No experiment on Earth has ever replicated curved water like which is supposedly on the spinning ball Earth.
You know who else knew that water doesn't curve? The ancients. As you can see here, we have the Egyptian, Norse, Hindu, Mayan, Inca, Navajo, Greek, and Hebrew depictions of a flat Earth. These are the cosmologies that they knew.
It wasn't all that long ago that everyone knew with certainty that the Earth was flat and motionless. They also knew that we are enclosed by the firmament and that we have a local sun and moon that circle above us. You see the sun and the moon inside the firmament in most of these depictions. So is there any credence to this idea?
The answer
The firmaments in the Bible, too, talks about that. That was like, yeah.
is yes. There are many times just like this when the sun shows us how close it actually is. Many people admire the beauty of this.
Yeah, I always wondered, why does the sunlight come in different angles? That doesn't make any sense, does it? I wonder what the science would say.
Because light's being
Not if it's
shot. in
not if it's
all
93 million miles away. It just should all be direct sunlight, especially not that drastic of an angle.
That's true. It would suggest that the sun's closer than.
Right.
Seen like this, but they never stop and think about what we are seeing. And what we are seeing are sun rays that are telling our eyes that the sun is local. All you have to do is trace the rays back to the source.
The sun is right here with us, right above us. This happens all the time. All you have to do is pay attention and think about it logically. Does it look like it's 93 million miles away? The answer is no.
One of the things that I struggled with the most when it comes to flat Earth is, why does the sun rise and set? I couldn't make any sense of it until I realized that the sun was much closer and much smaller than we are told. The sun appears to rise and set due to perspective only. What we are seeing here is the actual path of the sun versus what we see because of human perspective.
It
Come on, they don't know science.
seems as if it's rising and setting, but it's just coming and going. It's the sun as well as the moon that do the moving across the sky. The Earth is not moving whatsoever. Also, you see here that the sun does, in fact, shrink as it gets further away, but only if the atmospheric conditions are right. When it's really humid, the sun gets magnified. When it's dry out, you pretty much see the sun for its true size as it comes and goes.
Well,
now let's talk about the moon. Here's a normal moon in the night sky. We are told that the moon is 238,000 miles away. The funny thing is that the Tycho crater, which is said to only be 53 miles in radius, is perfectly visible to us from Earth at this distance. So I tried to figure out a way to test if we would be able to see the Tycho crater from a distance of 238,000 miles away. I went to Google Earth and I made a 53-mile radius in Texas, as you can see here. And you can also do this yourself. Then I zoomed out as far as I could, and unfortunately, it only goes to 39,000 miles away, but it still makes the point, in my opinion. You can barely see the 53-mile radius from 39,000 miles away. If I were to go another 200,000 miles out, we surely would not be able to see the red circle anymore. Of course, Google Earth is complete nonsense. Let's watch a quick clip in reference to Google Earth.
well,
All right, here's what looks like an objective image of the world. This is Google Earth, and it's a circular image, so it gets
I mean, Google Earth has got the science. Come on.
around the big problem of trying to portray the world on a flat surface. Now, you have a lot of reservations, don't you, about Google Earth? Yet, to many people, it's a wonderful application.
It is great technology, and that's what I first thought when I started doing the work on it. But I do now think that because of the way in which they have bought up so much of the data, which they fed into this geospatial application, is what they call it, they are monopolizing maps online. If you go online and you're using maps, you are probably using a Google map. And there's also some sort of sinister and worrying dimensions to Google because they buy Earth Viewer, which is the application, and that is funded by the CIA.
We'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything
Well, are we talking about the misinformation CIA here that owns Google Maps? We'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. That's the CIA director. Said that? Really? Well, damn.
the American public believes is false. William Casey, director of the CIA in 1981. The CIA's whole purpose is to dispense propaganda and disinformation.
So anyway, we were talking about the moon and how being able to see.
I mean, really, it's not the CIA. It's actually USAID that is controlled by the CIA. But the USAID is gone now. Goners. Okay. All right.
The Tycho crater doesn't make sense. Now let's look at an image of the moon during the day. Now just think about this. Why would we ever see the moon during the day? I mean, if it's 238,000 miles deep into the darkness of outer space, how does it show up in our blue sky?
The answer again is because it's local, just like the sun, just like the ancients depicted in their models, and just like many flat earthers propose today. To be fair, we are not sure of the exact layout and model, but we do know two things for sure. The Earth is a level plane and it doesn't move at all. Everything after that, we are still trying to figure out.
How do lunar eclipses work, you ask? Well, certainly not like we are told.
We see the shadow of Earth on the moon and it appears to be round, therefore we live on a ball. But whatever is causing the shadow on the moon, we don't even know. It's not the Earth. There's been so many instances of lunar eclipses where the sun and the moon are both above the horizon while the eclipse is taking place. Look it up for yourself. It's called a selenilion. And you can find websites that'll tell you. I'll show you one right here. What makes October 8th lunar eclipse so special? It's an impossible occurrence. It says, on Wednesday early morning, those watching the sky in North America will be able to witness the most unique total lunar eclipse yet. Though lunar eclipses happen twice a year, you might be upset to miss this one, as this rare type of eclipse will occur while the sun is still up. Now, how is the Earth causing the shadow on the moon if the
These guys are discounting the flux capacitor gigawatt behind their science, and therefore they're just led astray, boys and girls. Come on.
sun is still up above the horizon with the moon?
In an old book by F.H. Cook called The Terrestrial Plane, it says this. According to the globular theory, a lunar eclipse occurs when the sun, earth, and moon are in a direct line. But it is on record that since about the 15th century, over 50 eclipses have occurred while both sun and moon have been visible above the horizon.
It's because of the
Now,
gigawatt.
let's have a look at the stars. When you look at the time-lapse videos of the stars, they all move uniformly. This might make sense on a spinning globe if the only thing we were doing was spinning. However, mainstream science not only tells us that the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, but we are also told that we orbit around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour. In addition to that, our solar system, Earth and all, rolls around the center of the galaxy at 490,000 miles per hour. And finally, the entire Milky Way galaxy is traveling through space at over 1 million miles per hour. Keep in mind that none of these motions have ever been proven, not even Earth's supposed rotation.
That's because they're missing the gigawatt flux capacitor with the crystals behind their science, Tish, because we're definitely moving at least our solar system at least 1 million miles per hour on top of our Earth moving at 368,000 miles per hour, plus the rotation spinning, right?
67,000, I think they said.
Yeah.
It's a lot of force.
Yep. It's a lot of G-force there, but our atmosphere and our molecular structure of the square root of the gigawatt magnetic force fields, make it to where we just don't even feel anything. Yeah.
With all of these motions considered, is this what we would see night after night for thousands of years? No.
Yeah,
They also tell us that the stars are distant suns.
The reason why the stars are always in the same place after thousands of years is because they're also shooting off into outer space, Matt.
Same rate.
Yeah.
Everything exploded at the same time.
In the same 1/trillionth of a trillionth of the first second was just the first epoch that happened 27.6783978 billion years ago. Yes.
But they look like orbs of dancing energy when you zoom in on them with a high-power zoom camera. And considering how far away they are, should we even be able to zoom into them in the first place?
Now let's talk about planets. People always ask me, why is Earth the only planet that's flat? And it's simple, really. It's because Earth is not a planet. Planets were known to the ancients as wandering stars. Let's have a look at the etymology of the word. This is from the online etymology dictionary. Wandering stars. See, that's what you need to pay attention to. Wandering stars. That's what these were called, planets. And we weren't considered a wandering star. Now let's keep going. From planet.
Duh, because they didn't have the science. They were lacking the flux capacitor gigawatts. Come on.
To wander, so called because they have apparent motion, unlike the fixed stars. Originally included also the sun and moon. Okay, so they move in a completely different way than the regular uniform stars that all move the exact same. Originally included the sun and moon. Also, Earth was originally not included because it's not a planet, it's a plane.
You can find the planets of the universe encoded in our weekdays. Sunday is sun. Monday is moon. Tuesday is Mars. Wednesday is Mercury. Thursday is Jupiter. Friday is Venus. Saturday is Saturn. All 7 wandering stars are accounted for. You're probably wondering about Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Well, as you may know, Pluto was demoted from planet status in 2006, and there is much debate online as to whether Uranus and Neptune should even be considered. If not, then we are back at 6 planets, but that's including the Earth. Take away the Earth because it's not a planet, and add the sun and moon back in, and we're back at the original 7 planets.
Now let's have a look at what we are told the solar system looks like. Central sun, hence heliocentric, and the planets all going.
This is exactly what it looks like. Right. Yeah, we've seen it for ourselves, right? This looks just like this right here. Mm-hmm.
around it. Now, just like pictures of the Earth, you can't find any real pictures of the so-called solar system.
Here's what you get when you do a search for real pictures of the solar system: a bunch of cartoons.
The argument is that we just can't go out far enough and take pictures of the solar system, bro. It's not that simple. Well, I beg to differ.
NASA claims to have the Hubble telescope taking real pictures of distant galaxies.
See,
Here's
there-
one right here.
Yep.
Look up spiral galaxy pair NGC 4302 and
Yep.
NGC 4298, but they tell us that the Hubble is only 350 miles away, so maybe we can't get pictures of our solar system with Hubble. Well, what about the Discover satellite with the Epic camera? They claim that it took this shot of Earth from 1 million miles away.
If that's the case, can't they just zoom back a little bit and snap the solar system? Again, the fact is that everything we get from NASA is CGI. Start looking at it and examining it. You'll notice. Is the Earth a planet?
The answer is no,
It's never been proven.
just programmed into us.
When I grew up, I had the big globe.
Mhm.
It was like a ball that I played with. Come on, guys.
Every classroom too.
Uh-huh. Was spinning that thing around.
We have to stop looking up at the lights in the sky for answers because we are not one of those lights. The Earth is special and so are you. We are at the center of all things, and the only life is here. Outer space is one big lie. Yeah, you can look up at the night sky and see the stars and wandering stars, but it's not what we are told it is. You can't travel there, and there is no such thing as deep space.
NASA admits repeatedly that we can't go into deep space because we no longer have the 60s technology that we used to get to the moon.
Oh, come on.
Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go.
The kinds of technologies that we're testing out on Space Station are definitely helping us with our goals of going beyond low Earth orbit.
Early in the next decade, a set of crewed flights will test and prove the systems required for exploration beyond low Earth orbit.
And this is really the beginning, I think, of human beings leaving low Earth orbit.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
Wait, did NASA really say that?
Said he was an astronaut.
So we had the technology in the 60s, but we lost it.
Says we destroyed.
We
it.
destroyed it, and it's a painful process to build it back up again. Come on.
Especially at that time, like Cold War. You're not destroying the technology if
In
you're
the
ahead of.
in the 60s? Seriously?
The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
I haven't seen anything that indicates the telemetry data is.
We destroyed it. We had the technology in the 60s. Okay, dude, that's like 45 years ago. No, that's
60 years.
60 years ago. We haven't been able to get the technology from the 60s. It's 60 years ago.
It's out there.
Come on.
Even in existence, and as I said, even if we had it, we don't have the machines to play it back.
Unfortunately, I'm afraid I can't really give you much of a clue as to where this data ended up and whether it still exists or not.
See, can't go past.
They lost the data of the 536. 3 people completed only a suborbital flight. 533 people reached Earth orbit. 24 traveled beyond low Earth orbit. 12 walked on the moon, which we, according to NASA, they said they had to stage, the moon walking, but they did it because they needed to, to show the world that we landed on the moon, right? I mean, that makes sense.
Sure.
Low Earth orbit. That equals can't get past the barrier, also known as the dome or the firmament.
If you look up how many people have been to space, here's what you get. Of the 536, 3 people completed only a suborbital flight. 533 people reached Earth orbit. 24 traveled beyond low Earth orbit, and 12 walked on the moon. So it seems that the Apollo mission was the only one to ever get to deep space. You would think that by now we'd have several bases on the moon and would have already been to Mars a few times, but no.
And let me just say that we were discussing how the moon is local, so naturally, you're probably wondering why we can't go. Well, the thing is that none of this stuff is what we are told it is. There are documented cases of being able to see stars through the moon. So this begs the question, is the moon even a physical object?
It was also documented in the Royal Society of Philosophical Transactions from 1974. It says, an account of an appearance of light like a star seen lately in the dark part of the moon. You can download and read the whole PDF from the Royal Society website.
This is why we have so many depictions of this throughout the world. But NASA and others maintain that the moon is a physical body that man can land on and visit.
What is it, like a translucent ball of gas? Yeah. Huh.
But only in the late 60s, early 70s.
Let's get back to the Earth and how the spherical Earth paradigm is very new on the timeline of man. Again, here's a few of the cosmologies of the ancients. The people of today have been taught that many of these ancient cultures were primitive and stupid. The fact is, they were more in touch with reality back then. We are completely out of touch with reality, and it's by design. So, we have all those, and here we have a 1542 depiction with Earth in the center, followed by the 7 planets of the universe, aka the wandering stars, and finally, the firmament. This is also called the crystalline heavens, the place of the fixed stars.
This is around the time the Society of Jesus, or the Jesuits, were founded, in 1540. They are largely responsible for the spread of heliocentrism.
Notice the sun in their logo. It's because they are sun worshippers and want nothing more than for all of humanity to also worship the sun. Here is what the Earth was depicted like thereafter.
This was created by a Jesuit scholar in 1665.
Well,
yes,
yeah.
The heliocentric globe model of the world has always had its advocates, but these celebrated figures throughout history have almost all been easy to spot Freemasons, and I should note that Freemasonry is a form of Judaism.
And the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, was a crypto Jew.
A crypto Jew is a Jew.
It's the Jews. What do we got here?
Who converts to another religion and outwardly embraces the new religion, while secretly maintaining Jewish practices.
While all these Freemasons and Jesuits were pushing the heliocentric model of the Earth, many people were saying, wait a minute, what's this about? The Earth is provably flat and motionless. You can find several well-written books with amazing insight on why the heliocentric theory is false and why the static plane is the truth, and these books kept coming well into the 1900s. We have Zetetic Astronomy from 1865. Is the Bible from Heaven? Is the Earth a Globe from 1890?
Well, obviously those scientists didn't have the gigawatt flux capacitor back then, guys. Like, this isn't science at all. Come on.
And that one was written by the guy who made the now famous Gleason's map, which is a flat Earth map. We have Zetetic Cosmogony from 1899, Terra Firma, Earth Not a Planet from 1901, and so on.
If you go to the website archive.org, you can find all of these and many more to download for free.
Here's a flat Earth map in Samuel Rowbotham's book, Zetetic Astronomy.
That looks like
Here's Alexander Gleason's flat Earth map, one of the most popular to this
that looks like the UN map, doesn't it? You know, the UN logo?
day.
Here's one from a flat Earth advocate named William Carpenter. You see that they all look very similar as far as layout of the land.
We have the known countries and continents in the middle, surrounded by Antarctica, which is not a continent but a perimeter of ice.
Now, we don't know for sure if this map is accurate, but I personally believe there is something to all of this.
If you research Operation High Jump and Operation Deep Freeze, you'll see that a lot was going on in Antarctica during the 1940s and 50s. Admiral Richard E. Byrd was leading numerous expeditions there.
Conveniently enough, in 1959, the Antarctic Treaty was established, just 1 year after NASA was created.
And the treaty puts Antarctica off limits to normal people. You can only go if you and your reasons are approved by the proper authorities. Another way you may be able to go is on a guided tour. Why is it that the countries of the world are constantly at war with each other, but they will all adhere to the Antarctic Treaty without any issues?
Well, that's because all the world is a stage.
The said poles of the Earth, whether south or north, are surrounded by strangeness, while the Antarctic is out of bounds for the public. The North Pole is said to not have any land, just a floating ice sheet that expands and contracts from season to season. What's interesting is that the North Pole was often depicted with land in maps prior to the mid-1600s.
I've found several maps with land at the North Pole, including the Mercator North Pole projection. Again, all of these maps are from before the mid-1600s, when all of the sudden, maps that no longer contained the Arctic land were being pumped out. I personally believe that there is still land at the North Pole.
Well,
why would they lie about all of this? Well, when you sit down and you really think about it, it's simple. The Big Bang, evolution, spinning ball Earth, chaotically darting through infinite space where eventually our sun will die out, creates the ultimate mind control. This set of beliefs leads to a mentality that nothing matters and everything, including you, are nothing more than an accident. This is far from the truth. You are very powerful, and the ruling class is scared of your potential. This is why people are required to take vaccines and suckered into taking flu shots. This is why they spray chemicals above our heads all day, every day. Chemtrails have several purposes, and some include slow kill of
the chemtrails. We're going to be covering the chemtrails. They're for real. It keeps coming out. It's not even a conspiracy anymore.
not only the populations, but the soil too. So we can't grow food in the future. All the food will have to come from corporations with employees that have to wear hazmat suits while applying the chemicals that you're going to eat. Nestle wants to own water. All of it. The CEO of Nestle called the idea that water is a human right extreme. And global warming, it's a fallacy. It's a trick put into place to make you think that the polar ice caps are melting and it's your fault. We are completely enslaved, programmed and brainwashed by the educational system and the mainstream media, constantly kept in fear and in debt, so you can never really stop and think about all of this. It's absolutely appalling, all the things they're doing to us. Research legal name fraud and crown copyright for proof that birth certificates are merely receipts and that we are unknowingly giving ourselves over to the rulers. Everything that's used against us is to keep us dumbed down and preoccupied so that we can never figure this out and make moves. It's time to wake up. Another reason for lying about the shape of the earth and making it into a ball is because when you turn it into a ball, you can cut off any land you want and keep it hidden. For example, we will take this map, we will cut out a piece, and we will take this flat piece and wrap it around a ball. Now, this is where I tell you that this is all there is. You can only go to destinations that are on the globe because you now believe that's all there is. But we still have all the land that I cut off earlier.
Is there more of the earth to discover?
So the one map was really interesting to me because there's a lot of stories with the flat earth that there's like these ice walls
Right.
at the edge.
Yep.
And that's
But, you know, I think even the term flat earth is the wrong term. I think maybe that's thrown out there as like to make it seem dumb.
a way to understand it.
Yeah. Instead of like, basically what I'm hearing them say is that we just don't even freaking know what the earth looks like, but it's horizontal and there's not this, it's not a marble, you know, it's like, so maybe flat earth isn't the right name.
It's seriously that easy. And when you consider it, it really is a plausible reason to lie.
Everything in this world seems to be nothing but lies. And if you're alive right now, you are living in a very exciting time where the truth is being unveiled. Did you know that the word
So what they're saying is Elon Musk is either Jesus Christ himself or he's the Antichrist. Basically, people. So this guy's interesting. If you go to his channel, this Odd TV, okay, and he's got some interesting stuff here.
1 + 1 is?
2.
What color is the sky?
What is this?
The Earth from outer space. Do you believe this is a real, live recording? Do you believe? How about now? Does this make it more believable? Ask yourself. Is this real? Do you believe? Let's try this another way.
Breaking news. NASA finally did it. They finally did it. They're finally live streaming the Earth spinning from outer space. The world is celebrating. This one will go down in history.
Convinced? Well, if you didn't fall for that, then why would you fall for this? Maybe you just never paid attention. When you do pay attention, you start to notice things. Are you paying attention?
So I did watch when Elon just shot that rocket up there and we could see the, you know, and then the higher it got, the more you couldn't tell what the hell was going on. Like for 45 minutes, I watched it and I just didn't even know what I was looking at. Okay.
Did you know that starting at the end of 2015 through 2017, flat Earth was one of the top search terms in the USA, let alone the world? While most of you were falling for the political charades, the rest of us were trying to discover the true nature about our world.
My name is ODD TV. I'm a local rapper here in Denver, Colorado.
I just want you to know the truth, so please don't shoot the messenger. It's a bitch, but this is how it is when you live.
I've been rapping for 20 years, just like anyone else. When you're a kid and you're really into music, you're into making music, every kid looks in that mirror and fantasizes about being famous. And because I like to make my own music, I just decided, screw it, I'm going to make it.
I still can't believe, is it true that all the pictures we got are CGI? We don't actually have millions of pictures of the Earth?
I was going to say earlier that it's funny that like these theories can lead to more conversations.
Right.
Like that. Did we land on the moon?
Right.
The ice walls, you know, the one map and just the theory that it's flat. Just leads you from one to the next.
Yeah. What the hell's going on? We do know now that like everything we're always ever told is lies. I mean, that becomes more and more clear by the day.
A YouTube channel and start talking in videos.
There's never been one experiment that proves that the Earth is in motion. When you try to find the curvature of the Earth, it's nowhere to be found. Unless you're looking at footage from GoPro cameras that have fisheye lenses, Hollywood movies, or NASA propaganda.
Started making the videos in 2014, early 2015. Started getting noticed. You're living in a world where there's fake people faking events on TV in order to move agendas forward with the Earth being flat. I couldn't just sit around and do nothing. There was videos everywhere. There was videos of people doing science, putting balloons up with a camera that doesn't have a fisheye lens on it, like a GoPro lens, a wide angle lens. And they were using these cameras that didn't have those. The horizon rose to eye level, which would be impossible on a ball that would be falling away from you as you rose up. There's people putting out top 10 NASA hoax videos, debunking the moon landing, picking apart NASA just left and right. It was awesome. Awesome time for YouTube between 2015 and 17.
Even Google mentioned it during their commercial. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Why would Google be promoting this?
As a joke?
As a joke? No. We know why. They were panicking. Panicking because the platform they purchased 10 years ago was collapsing with truth. The powers that be would not allow that.
Is we want to provide users with authoritative, trustworthy information.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I only have a minute and a half, and I don't really need to hear what you're trying to provide. I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
So the first way is by demoting low-quality content and promoting more authoritative content. And the second...
Basically, we need to censor speech so all these lies don't get out. No, straight up what they say. This did the same thing with a vaccine. So here's what we always need to know, especially with science of all things, let alone politics and stuff. Science is always testable and the science always wins. If there's a big movement that comes out and people are saying that 2 + 2 equals 5, for example, are we threatened by that? Let's just say 1 million people all of a sudden start believing that 2 + 2 equals 5. Well, we're not worried about that, are we?
No.
Because we can just prove that no. I mean, it's okay to say that. Okay, because you're free to speak that, but no one's worried about that because it's obvious that 1 2 + 1 2 equals 3 4. Not okay. Another one, like let's say a big movement came out saying that antibiotics were killing the population. Well, that wouldn't worry us either because you can just prove it. But what we have now is the vaccine promoting cabal out here, and they're silent. They literally are silencing and revoking scientists and doctors' licenses for questioning the narrative. That's when you know it's not science, because 101 Foundation science is you test and retest and always test the science forever. And it's not afraid to be tested and contended because the science will win. The science will prove itself out. It's only when people censor speech when they create a cult.
Yeah, it's the only way science advances is asking questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Skeptical.
So what they campaigned for here was censoring speech because of misinformation. It's one of the biggest lies. Okay.
Second is by providing more transparency for users. So we're introducing boxes that provide factual information at the top of results that have shown themselves to turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for the earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of...
Your response is to put a box saying, nope, the earth is not flat.
Correct.
Okay.
So instead of deleting all of the millions of videos we have made, they simply decided to bring in their puppets to reiterate the agenda at stake.
We are already sufficiently motivated to invest the necessary resources.
So at least they didn't delete it. But right here, Wikipedia, flat Earth is an archaic and scientifically disproven conception of Earth's shape as a plane or disk. Many ancient cultures subscribe to flat Earth cosmography, notably including the cosmology in the ancient Near East. The model has undergone a recent resurgence as a conspiracy theory.
I think one of their big arguments is how were they so accurate with everything else, but they just, this thing, Earth, the closest thing that we are to, they got that wrong. But everything else was so accurate.
Right, which
as far as
the flux capacitor crystals.
Yeah.
Right. The gigawatt flux capacitor crystals proving the universe and all the trillions upon billions and trillions of stars and galaxies upon galaxies out there. All right.
That they didn't know about.
Right. And we know this. We know exactly what's 14 billion light years away. Like we of course, like we can like see it. We can see 14 billion light years away of distance because of our gigawatt flux capacitor with crystal mega telescope that sends out radar, laser vibrations and frequencies, and we can just see it. But thanks to trusty old NASA, you know, we can't quite see it right. And so they have to, you know, CGI everything for us just for our convenience, though, of course. Right. That they destroyed their technology from 60 years ago, that we just can't go to the moon now. So we don't have the technology yet, but it's coming. All right. But we did 60 years ago. Okay. All right. Elon's going to save us, baby.
And people and addressing this threat.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake, honestly.
The earth being flat is getting out of control. Can you please help?
When you stand on the shoulders of those who came before, you might just see far enough to realize the earth isn't flat.
1 + 1 is?
2.
What color is the sky?
Blue.
And the earth is?
Round. Second is here.
This book celebrates flat earth theory that is spreading ironically around the
World and its possible roundness.
Spinning. Now they are talking about it. They want you to search for it because they already changed their algorithm to be set up in their favor.
What is this trash?
None of this tells you our side of the story. These are all videos they put together, so you can watch and learn nothing. Nothing that any of us would show you. Like here, have you ever seen a time lapse of the sun? Does it look like the Earth is rotating backwards and the sun is still? Or does it look like our sun is simply moving across our sky, traveling away from your perspective? Again, but with some inversion. You can clearly see the sun, not only decreasing its size, but heading towards its next destination with a slight turn before it disappears from your line of sight. While Google would make sure when you type in flat Earth that nothing like this would ever pop up, many agree the science regarding our sun is far from settled.
We're told that the sun is a massive ball of burning gas 93 million miles away. But if that were true, then all the light that arrives here would be parallel because it's so far away. And it has to be parallel because one of the most often cited supposed globe proofs is Eratosthenes' experiment between Alexandria and Syene, by which he calculated the size of the Earth. For that calculation to be accurate, the light must come down parallel. The only problem is that that's not what we see. If you go out on a sunny day with broken cloud, what you'll see is that light comes down at angles, diverging angles. And that means that we can follow those light rays back to the source and triangulate the sun's height above the Earth, proving that the sun isn't millions of miles away. But we can also perform physical experiments that prove that these crepuscular rays, as they're called, can only be recreated with a light source that is small and close.
It doesn't take a genius to understand that the further the light source goes up, the more the sun rays would spread out and become parallel. The reason you'd even think that
If the Earth was flat, wouldn't it be sunny all the time? I mean, have they ever even thought about it?
Well, if you'd let me finish, the reason you'd even think the sun would be visible from anywhere on Earth is because of the images they have shown you. No one promoting this bull stands for truth. You can keep believing in your fantasy gas ball 93 million miles away.
You can keep believing in your fantasy gas ball.
While we keep experimenting to try and figure out what the sun actually is, and how close it could be. With a local hotspot, it should be easy to comprehend that the sun is small and close to you.
To put that in perspective, imagine a table 2 meters wide in a completely dark room, and you're holding a small but very bright light bulb, 3.4 millimeters across, and you were holding it about 31 centimeters above the table. What you'd see is a circular pool of light directly on the table, beneath the light bulb. But on the other side of the table, it would be in darkness. Now, it seems to our mind that if you were on the other side of the table, you would see the light because it's, above the table. But that's not true, because on that part of the table, it's in darkness, meaning that the light isn't physically reaching that part of the tabletop.
Your senses.
I don't know if that's the right argument here.
Yeah,
There's a better argument than this logic, I think.
Yeah, it's suggesting that it's a direct,
Right.
Is direct rather than
Right. Yeah.
Are correct.
We're also told that the sun sets because as the Earth rotates us away from the sun, it's actually obscured by the physical curvature of the Earth. That's not what we see.
What we see is a local sun that is taking its local light with it. What happened to the horizon glowing across half of the world? Most sunsets are already fading through pollution, dander, chemtrails, and fog. Plus, refraction will always make the sun seem like it's going down, as well as your perspective.
It would appear to sink down in your field of view. That's perspective. The further away you get from it, the lower it will appear. It doesn't physically change its height, it just appears that way to your eyes, until eventually it will disappear behind the horizon formed by your eye's vanishing point. Your eye has an angular resolution of 0.2 degrees, and anything at that height will disappear beyond the limit of your sight. Many times we can see time-lapse footage of the sun that shows it getting smaller as it moves away from us. Now, that's not always the case, since the sun is traveling around the North Pole. The closer you are to the north, the less you'll see the size change. But from locations beyond the equator, you'll absolutely see the sun's size change. And that could never ever happen if the sun was 93 million miles away. You wouldn't see the sun change at all.
Our eyes cannot see farther than what they were designed to see, but that is no reason to keep them closed.
There's also an effect that occurs under certain conditions called atmospheric lensing, where the sheer amount of atmosphere, as well as the rain between you and the sun, acts like a lens and a prism, magnifying it greatly, which leads to another observational proof that the sun setting is an optical effect. At such times, when the sun is setting over the sea, and it seems as though it's half hidden by the horizon, then you can zoom in with a high-powered zoom camera and see that it's actually still above the horizon. It's just an optical illusion.
Pay attention to the sun rays here. This alone proves our local sun, and so do these shadows. So what about the moon? We all witness the moon only illuminating the local clouds around it. That is because it is also a local light, but one with opposite effects from the sun. As we can all agree, shade from the sun is cooler than direct sunlight. But did you know the moon's shade is actually warmer than direct moonlight? The moon produces cold light, something the science priests must have forgotten to teach us all about in school. Not only that, but at times we can see stars through the moon, proving it is not some solid rock 238,900 miles away. In the 60s, true science regarding the moon was the shadow band topic of its era.
I must consider myself to be an ordinary, humble person who wants to serve mankind with what man has striven for from the beginning of consciousness, with truth and understanding of the world. Now, one thing, you have a theory about the moon, and we expect to be able to get observable facts about the moon fairly soon. What is your theory? Well, it is by now rather more than a theory. 10 or 11 years ago, I stated to various scientists that the moon is not a piece of rock, but it is plasma, cosmic plasma. Gravitational theories are out, and the new concept of the
Cosmic plasma. Huh.
and of its laws has to be evolved. This fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958, and the situation now is coming close to a complete confirmation. What will be the result if you're proved to be correct in your theories? The result will be profound and decisive. Because if the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it. And the Americans and Russians are thinking of landing men on it. Well, that will never happen.
People actually believe they walked on the moon, talked with Nixon, played golf, drove a car, and planted a flag.
If you really believe that Neil Armstrong took the first step, then why do you give any credit to the cameraman already there waiting for him?
These guys were all U.S. military men coerced into acting.
That's a good point. You know, the other thing that's weird, this is the weirdest thing for me. I was debating Gabe, my son. The weirdest thing to me about the moon is we only ever see one side of the moon.
Right. Yeah.
That makes zero sense.
I was always under the impression that it rotated as well as orbiting, but I guess
There's no way in hell. There's no way. We're spinning and the moon is spinning. And we'll see the moon and the sun, okay, out there, both. And the earth is not blocking it. When we see the sun and the moon, and there's no earth, there should be no crescent. But only part of it illuminates.
right. Yeah. It's
Makes no sense at all whatsoever. And I debated Gabe because he was trying to say, well, no, I Googled and we were debating it out. And I'm just like, I don't buy it. There's no way. We only ever see one side of the moon? Always? Seriously?
and there should be no shadow on it if both are in the sky.
Yeah. If we can see both up in the sky, not on the horizon even, but they're both up in the sky sometimes. And the Silmarillion is when there's still an eclipse even happening, when we know there's no earth in the way. That's some of that stuff. I'm just, something's off. There's something not right about it. Okay.
They wanted the money and power that came with the deal, of course. The problem was, they were terrible actors. They couldn't even pretend to be excited, knowing they were lying to the world. But the show had to go on. Michael Collins and Neil Armstrong rarely spoke in public about it. But there was one man not shy about lying to your face. The spokesperson for the Apollo deception.
It's my pleasure to present Colonel Edwin Aldrin.
No handshake, hug, smile. Their facial expressions are similar to those experiencing constipation, not celebrating an accomplishment.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with a great sense of pride as an American and with humility as a human being that I say to you today what no men have been privileged to say before.
It's a funeral.
We walked on the moon.
I mean, they couldn't pay them enough to look up and smile? Society has always debated these planned Apollo events since day one, never imagining then that almost 50 years later, they haven't had the balls to fake another.
As a tattooer, I talk to hundreds of people a month, and people are actually really starting to wake up with everything that's going on right now. I mean, people are sick of the lies. This is the biggest deception ever. The globe, the spinning ball globe is the biggest deception. If NASA was legit, literally all they would have to do is one thing. Take one of their satellites, zoom in on someone in Australia, upside down, driving a car. Or in the ocean, swimming upside down. That's all they would have to do. Just zoom in.
Yeah, the car would be upside down from their perspective.
Right.
But I can't get past this either. They don't have a real picture of the Earth. They should have millions of pictures, billions. We should have so many pictures of the Earth. Why don't we have that? Like Elon? Hello?
But they won't do it. They'll never do it. we have the footage of them in the space capsule, still in Earth orbit, covering up a small section of the window, so you can see through the circle and making that look like that was the Earth. And this is a joke. I mean, how do people think this was real? I think it's hilarious that NASA will straight up tell you to destroy the technology to go to the moon.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back.
That is so much bullshit.
I'm with him that it just doesn't make sense.
0 sense made. That is complete bullshit. We had the technology, but we destroyed it. Yeah. And it's a tough cookie to rebuild that technology in 60 years later. I mean,
but they destroyed the technology and they can't go back. It's ridiculous. There's an interview with Buzz Aldrin, actually, where he's being interviewed by a little girl. Her question was,
why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know what I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
After 50 years.
We didn't go there?
That's what he said.
Who is that?
That's Buzz Aldrin.
Really?
Yeah.
He just straight admitted we didn't go there.
Yeah. I wonder how old he is there. Like, did he have like Alzheimer's or dementia or anything?
I don't know. Good question.
But even then, the honest parts would come out.
He's
right?
hanging out with the kids. Like, he probably wouldn't if he had dementia.
It's true.
Huh.
Of lying to humanity and perpetrating this giant fraud. He's sick of the lie, and his conscience, in a moment of humility,
in the fridge,
and his conscience wouldn't let him lie to this little 8-year-old girl.
On the
this
left
silly
hand
globe
side
model with water magically attached to it, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, shooting around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour, and rocketing through the universe at 500,000 miles an hour is just the goofiest, silly thing that I've ever heard in my life. They want you to think you're a monkey man, a purposeless accident created by nothing, that exploded from a big bang that was created not by scientists, by a priest, mind you, while they steal $58 million a day in taxpayers' money to show you cartoons, CGI. They just have to show you enough.
Yep, Elon's exposing all the fraud from NASA, like mega money. On top of that, to put a satellite up there, apparently, it's like $500 million of just to get like licenses and bureaucracy BS. There's a lot of money to be made with that. That's another reason why, I don't know. I'm trying to think of why, they would come up with this grand scheme of hiding the Earth, and what's going on.
Hollywood and magic tricks and for you to believe the nonsense. It shocks me how many people actually believe they're floating above our heads. It's all filmed here on Earth. Outer space is a fantasy. Earth is a stationary plane. Google bubbles in space. You can literally see bubbles coming up from these astronauts' helmets. It's ridiculous. When I saw it, I was like, this is a joke.
So many times during spacewalks outside the International Space Station, you can see air bubbles rising up. Can you touch on how there are air bubbles in space?
Can you be more specific, air bubbles?
So yeah, like a lot of times during the NASA footage, you can see bubbles coming up out of the helmets or kind of from underneath you. How do you explain bubbles in space?
Yeah, often on the outside of the space station, you'll liberate little pieces of, it's a really harsh environment out there. The outside of the space station gets beat up pretty good. And sometimes, you'll see just little flecks of paint or something that you might have disrupted floating away from the suit. And, that's generally what that is. I've never seen any kind of air bubble anywhere.
Yeah. Could it be that you're filming in an underwater pool and you're not really out there?
All right, well,
just encourage everyone to look up Bubbles in Space, hashtag Bubbles in Space. Thank you very much. How's Bubbles in Space doing? How's what? Bubbles in Space? Bubbles in Space? Yeah. I don't know what that is. No? You Mr. Kelly? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't remember the question from Tampa about the bubbles in space coming up from the helmet?
That is bizarre. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Bubbles in space.
You can clearly see what he's talking
Mm-hmm.
about in the video.
Yeah, and tons of them.
Yeah, you guys are in an underwater pool, remember? We know. Just remember.
What's up, man? You said mine is hashtag Bubbles in Space.
Hashtag Bubbles in Space.
Bubbles in Space, brother. What's your word on it?
What is that?
You were asked that 2 times in the past couple months, actually. Bubbles coming out in the
What is that? What's bubbles in space? What are you even talking about?
spacewalks.
Oh, you're that guy.
I'm not that guy. I'm one of those guys.
Yeah, I'm not gonna write that.
And then
Thank you so much.
There you go.
astronauts on harnesses as well. Anything to say about that?
Do I have anything to say about it?
Yeah.
I have anything you want me to say about it. What do you want me to say?
Whatever your thoughts are. I just want your honest
there's
opinion.
a harness?
About what?
There's video evidence of guys hanging from harnesses in the International Space Station.
Sir, we need to keep going. There's a very long line. Thank you so much. Can you please step forward? Thank you so much.
How about
Please step forward.
selling a book of pictures
Excuse
with
me,
taxpayer
security.
money? How about that?
Thank you so much.
Taxpayer money.
These are all on taxpayer dime, wasn't it? Not this one, but the picture book.
Back over here. You know what you can do? You can sell the same pictures yourself because they are public domain. Absolutely.
They should be free to the taxpayers.
They
is what
are
it is.
free.
Why are you selling it for $40?
You can do whatever you want with them.
You're doing it just by ripping off the taxpayers.
You know
What
what?
you're doing.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Once people start realizing that we've been lied to on a grand scale, everything from the government to our schools, it all just comes crumbling down. It shocks me how many people actually believe they're floating above our heads.
I've seen the International Space Station on YouTube and the astronauts floating about in it while they're orbiting the Earth at 17,000 miles per hour. You can't do that unless you're in outer space.
Whoa.
Practice makes perfect. Give me another
It's
week.
as simple as using a zero-G plane and strapping a harness to their belt. Then, just like Batman movies, they remove the wires using a computer. At times, the manipulation reveals itself. Green screen and blue screen technology cannot always be flawless. How can you keep denying this trickery? Here we see Europe's space agency at NASA's studios using a blue screen with grids. This technology has been used for decades. It works best for 3D and live manipulation. It's funny. Once NASA was caught red-handed, they produced a couple of senseless videos 8 months later, trying to pretend like they always used them for science experiments, knowing damn well it was too late. Why do clowns defend them?
There is no chance you could remove the background.
These people lie to your face in the hope that you will not do your own research. NASA knows that most are too lazy to dig through its massive rabbit hole. Yet, in the meantime, they just love to rub it in your face.
Take a journey with me deep inside the rabbit hole. Wake up, my friends, there's some things that you have to know. Everything you ever thought you knew, it has to go. The world's a stage and they're putting on the magic show. Take a journey with me deep inside the rabbit hole. Wake up, my friends, there's some things that you have to know. Everything you ever thought you knew, it has to go. The world's a stage and they're putting on the magic
They
show.
steal $52 million per day from American taxpayers just to create a fantasy display.
But here's what they've said many times. Like I've heard them say, yes, we landed on the moon. We manufactured the video. We had to do that because the video was destroyed or something. And so we had to regenerate, what we actually experienced. They've said stuff like that. Like actual NASA people have said that.
I look at the landing and like he said, like driving cars around and all that stuff. So like the first time we ever go to the moon, do you think they're going to be out there playing or like that?
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
They're golfing and driving the moon car around.
Not more interested in like what's going on around them or
Display of men orbiting their spinning pear-shaped space testicle Earth. Their
Oopsie
green
daisy.
screens are awful.
Oopsie daisy. What do we got there? What's that? That's like a girl's boobs coming out of a swimming pool, right?
I see.
When they are live and something glitches, their reactions are always priceless. I'm not sure why you globeheads keep defending all of this. Are you waiting on NASA to finally come forward?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear citizens of America. We here at NASA have been lying to you all since the 60s about our projects, operations, and missions into outer space. We have never been higher than lower Earth orbit.
Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go.
Every image we have shown you is CGI. Our films are mostly done in an underwater buoyancy facility. We have funneled millions of dollars per day to show you cartoons and false illusions, and we are truly very sorry.
Hey, they do amazing with their cartoons and CGI and false illusions. Come on, guys, give them a little credit.
We will repay all taxpayers back the trillions of dollars we have stolen.
Trillions.
This will be divided evenly between the citizens of America, as well as rebuilding poverty-stricken towns and cities all across America, as this department has finally come to an end.
Isn't it weird that every space documentary, all the series, I had them all, Joe had them all, we watch them all the time. I try to remember all the about a neutron star and a super hypernova. Me and Joe were deep into space.
Beyond Venus, 93 million miles from the sun, is Earth. Its great oceans forming the clouds and air currents which warm and irrigate the planet.
I thought I was better than people because I knew so much about space. And every now and then I'd watch all that and wonder, what? This is all cartoons. And every now and then I think to myself, it's weird that we're not watching any actual footage of space. It's all CGI. All DVDs on space are all CGI. There's nothing real. And everyone watches that. They believe it. The narration is all programming what's above us and what we're on. We're being lied to. Don't we have Hubble? Why don't you point it at the Earth and get some awesome shots of where we live? All the pictures and images from space are CGI. None of them are real. We haven't gone past that. What, are you telling me that that's okay? We could just gloss over that? And they admit that they're all CGI, except for one in 1972.
They actually do admit it. You know, he's just the NASA guy straight up said, yeah, you know, I've never been out there to outer space, but, you know, we got to make it to, because the atmosphere, you know, we got to make it look right. And, you know, and all that, we just have to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's why we got to do that.
Which is fake. They have one picture. They say one is real. 1972. All the rest are CGI. Like, where are the pictures of Earth from space? I want to see a picture. I want to see tens of thousands of them. I want to see the sun over here and the moon over there. People should have posters and all over the world. People should have these epic pictures of the Earth from space with the moon over here and the sun over there and the planets. There's none.
Literally zero. They do sometimes exaggerate, like claiming they used a NASA camera 1.6 million miles away to take this alleged video of the dark side of the moon. It doesn't take a genius to see how undeniably computer-generated this image is, and yet you think we are the moronic ones?
I would rather be thought as a moron for not trusting criminals than a sellout and a traitor for defending.
The reality is,
the things that come out of your mouth, are you saying something that a defense attorney would say, or are you saying something that a prosecuting attorney would say? When it comes to the government, that criminal, that's like John Gotti. I'm saying that a prosecuting.
What these guys don't understand is now we have the gigawatt flux capacitor combined with the crystals. Geez, the science is better now. Come on.
Attorney would say, not saying, we'll prove it. We'll prove it. It's a criminal. Without a doubt, whatever's coming from the government, I need the kind of evidence that would shut down a case. If I don't see the evidence, why would I believe it?
What is gravity?
You have no idea. Okay, next question.
So you're telling me gravity is strong enough to hold oceans onto it, battling inertia from the spin. So gravity's holding ocean, and inertia's trying to pull it out and make it fling. Skyscrapers would fling off the Earth, but this gravity's holding these. It's so strong, it's holding those, but it can't hold a helium balloon. Things that are less dense go up. Things that are more dense go down. Has nothing to do with gravity. Where's gravity out with butterflies? You think that if gravity's so strong it's holding skyscrapers down to it, we would be flat on the ground.
There is gravity all the way out to the moon and beyond.
Long before the theory of gravity was a
which is the theory of relativity, and it's totally still 100% a theory. The whole gravity theory it's not, the science is not final. I know that much. And they don't want it questioned. That's when you know something's up. When people don't want something questioned.
glimmer in Newton's imagination. The natural physics of density and buoyancy already perfectly explained why apples fall down. Objects fall or rise based on their relative density to the medium surrounding them. Apples fall because they are denser than the air, while helium balloons rise because they are lighter.
No gravity necessary.
This is why raindrops fall down through the air and air bubbles rise up through water. Everything seeks its relative density and rises or falls until settling accordingly. This is why a tiny pebble sinks to the bottom of the ocean, but gigantic cruise ships and aircraft carriers stay afloat on the surface. Because even though a pebble is so small, its mass, relative to its volume, its density, is more than water, so it sinks. And even though a cruise ship is so large, its mass, relative to its volume, is less than water, so it floats. If Newton's apple had landed in a puddle, he would have seen the apple only fell through the air because it was denser than the air, but then floated on top of the water because it was less dense than water. The natural physics of density and buoyancy was understood and agreed upon for centuries before they changed our textbooks and started NASA.
All our space information is coming from NASA. Werner von Braun was the director of all 6 moon missions, and he's a. Is that not a comic book? That's a comic book.
My fellow Nanos, I'm sorry to say I am leaving you to join the elite. Operation Paperclip. In the United States of America. Operation Paperclip. My people in Germany, all they want is freedom and peace. We want to welcome you to the U.S.
Here's another reason why they would want to hide what's going on is so that we can believe in aliens for Project Bluebeam.
Aliens is a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother topic, but maybe it's demons and angels.
Yeah, spiritual beings.
Oh.
US of A.
We must divert their attention.
I'm going to make so much money. It's crazy. To brainwash a nation, we will need automation. I want to bring my technology of airplane models. I want to work with Walt. I want to see the best people. We need to get the indoctrination started. If people believe an airplane can go to the moon, we might be able to do it. To brainwash a nation, I will need help. We will need automation. Please bring in the United States.
You know, we have been seeing a lot of UFOs. They're not telling us what's going on. What's up with these UFOs?
That's a whole other topic.
That's a whole. Oh yeah, I've got a lot on that. A lot of UFOs. Yep.
Action. Oh, geez, who hired these guys? Jesus Christ, these guys can't act. Dig it up into an airplane. Dark window. You just record the earth from a dark window. Put it on the computer afterwards. People will fall for it. People will fall for it. People must know. And the heavens declare the glory of God and his firmament. Show us this handiwork. The people must know. The people have to know.
We come from this big bang and fluffy puffy pixie fairy dust and unicorn farts, and all of a sudden consciousness just came out of that. No.
Hey, we just went over the science is final. The Earth, we thought was 13.2 billion years old, and then it went to the science changed. Okay, and then it went to 13.8 billion, then it went to 14.005678 billion. But then Lucky Duck settled it up, and it's like somewhere over 28 billion years old. And we actually know the first 1 trillionth of the first second was the first epoch, and we know all about it. Yep. Time and space began from nothing, from the Big Bang.
It was designed. It's not an accident. Everything according to the bogus Darwinian theory of evolution, all of it points to a godless, atheist, demonic, demon-crat lie. NASA is a corporation, and they are the same people who run Disney. In fact, they are very, very similar, because what they do is they entertain people. They're not teaching people. They don't want people to know the truth about the cosmos. They're entertaining them with CGI images. Every image you see, image, not photo, every single one of them, all of those are computer-generated images. They are not photos. Everyone you see on Google is a CGI image. It is not a photo. And you can't tell that they are CGI. Either there's 2 things wrong with you. You are either or you are mentally deranged. You do not.
Well, see, what Susie did for us was blurred them out some to kind of make it look, more real. The CGI.
You distort it.
You just distort the CGI a little bit, and then it looks more real. It's like a big blur, blob on the CGI. They help that for us to make it look more realistic. You see, they're helping us.
You have control of your own mind. Your mind has been indoctrinated, it has been brainwashed, and you've been duped, and you still believe in Santa Claus and upside down.
Listen, the Juno telescope that we sent out there to Jupiter told us that the core of Jupiter which is 19 times the size of Earth, is fuzzy. What amazing! Are you a science denier, dude? Come on.
Did it elaborate on what it meant by fuzzy?
A little bit.
Okay.
The fuzzy term was for us peons, you know.
Like static fuzzy, or
It's like fuzzy.
like stuffed animal fuzzy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And they even went as far to help us out as creating a simulation of the event when a big asteroid ran into Jupiter and created the fuzzy core. Now, we understand the ocean, you know, which is like 95% yet undiscovered, but the ocean's tough, you know, to get down there. But we can get on over there to Jupiter. You know, that big ball of gaseous mass, and discover the ocean of Jupiter.
Or
right?
We get to the bottom of the ocean, but they ain't telling us. Because the Earth's
Mm.
flat and it's only so deep.
There's aliens down there.
Well, there could be bases.
They're coming up out of the water and flying around.
There is.
I've
accounts
seen
of,
it.
What do they call them? Rods. And, like,
Yeah,
tubes coming
it like
out.
lights up and flies around like light speed too, like 330,000 miles an hour. It's just boom, baby. Let's go.
Spinning Santa ball, which the Jesuits invented in 1542. Prior to 1542, every single culture, all our intelligent ancestors will be rolling in their graves knowing that this.
Well, yeah, all the cultures that didn't have science. I mean, come on, those idiots from thousands of years ago. What the hell did they know? We got science now. Come on.
Stupid progeny actually think they live on a spinning globe that people bow down to for their false ideology. Zoom up to Venus, zoom up to Mars, and you'll see they are lights. They are.
You know what was really funny was Elon recently posted a picture of Mars, a structure on Mars on Twitter.
Like his.
There's like a square structure without a roof. It's huge, like walls built up in a perfect square. And then the community notes actually said it was CGI.
Well,
Like-
with Elon though, like he's always talked about wanting to go to Mars.
Right, I know. He's saying by 2030 we'll be in Mars.
Yeah. Do you think his photo was meant to be CGI, like they're like building,
Yeah.
starting building there, or was he trying to portray it as like what's there?
No, he was saying it's a real picture.
Oh.
And then the community note said, "Oh, it's like a little bit of altering from the CGI." It made me laugh because I'm wanting to believe in Elon. I'm hoping, you know.
Stars. Hence, all the intelligent pre-Copernican astrologers, Ptolemaic astrologers like myself, taught that all the planets are wandering stars. They are luminous bodies. Just as the Egyptians said, just as the Greeks and the Mayans and the Aztecs said, just as our intelligent ancestors said.
They look like they're orbs out there. You know, orbs.
If all the stars, as they say, in every constellation are all at different depths by millions of light years, how come for thousands and thousands and thousands of years of hurtling through the sky, there is no distortion, no difference in luminosity of stars, flying at breakneck speeds through the galaxy, and yet the same boring stars keep turning over our flat, stationary, plain Earth forever and ever and ever and ever. So we are not moving. We're supposed to be traveling.
But they don't understand that we can see 14 billion light years away now because of the flux capacitor gigawatt with crystals. I mean, I'm just saying.
Get this number in your head. 66,600 mile an hour. 666. That's how fast the Earth is orbiting. If you are broke, that's what you are. You are stupid. Stupid beyond your wildest imagination. That's why we have a horizon because it's horizontal. That's why we have sea level, because the sea is level. It's not curving. You cannot call it sea level. You will call it sea curve. That's why we have tectonic plates and not tectonic bowls, because those tectonic plates.
They put the fisheye on the camera on that. So there's one I meant to show a different video because they really did a whole bunch of fisheye photos. Like they would change the same photo, just do the fisheye curve. It's wild.
I kind of like what you're saying here. That's why we have tectonic plates.
Oh.
I didn't catch what he said.
Okay, I'll rewind.
It's up just that. Call it sea curve. That's why we have tectonic plates and not tectonic bowls, because those tectonic plates are just that, flat plates. Check out the Suez Canal, 120 miles, no curvature. It never overflows, it never drains. And to all those astrologers out there who think they are astrologers teaching heliocentrism, like Laura Eisenhower, the granddaughter of her grandfather, the president of the US, calling herself a heliocentric astrologer, no such thing exists.
From a very young age, wondering why the heck did I land in the Eisenhower family. I was faced with the opportunity to go to Mars, and people wonder, why the heck didn't you go to Mars? But my intuition told me, from really recalling a youth filled with a lot of insight about what I was here to do, was to not go anywhere.
That is, Laura, you are a false prophet. The line going from the...
Well, look, you have to become one with the universe and open the third eye, and then you'll understand the gigawatt flux capacitor science. But you have to have the crystals. Yep.
AC to the DC is called...
When I talk about the crystals, I'm not even kidding. There's one of the guys, the scientist. He literally says it in one of the... I'll show it another time.
the line of the Earth, and it never moves. AC to DC, ascendant to descendant. That's called the line of the Earth, according to the astrologers of ancient. And that never moves, proving that there is no movement of the Earth calculated in any astrological chart reading that you do. You never account the movement or the position of the Earth in relation to any of these planets, because it's that line of the Earth which we call the horizon.
Speaking of horizons, some guy, he filmed a mountain. He was flying over Texas, and he used his camera to film a mountain. This mountain was supposed to be hidden by 35 miles of curvature with the current circumference of the Earth that we're given. I'm just sitting straight up. He's just right there. It's not hidden by 35.
There's a ton of those. He's got a video where he has like 10 of them, of tons of different examples that we shouldn't be able to see it with the Earth. Like he just said 38 miles it should be hidden, 38 miles down beyond the horizon. And that includes over water. And you know, water, like, of course, even given their round Earth theory, is that there's going to be flatter and more hilly areas. It's different areas. But when you're looking over water.
This is, I don't know if you had another thought, but I had one just seeing the video they just showed. I don't know if they were in some kind of craft or whatever in orbit, and it showed the sky moving and the Earth or whatever was still. So like if the Earth is rotating, and the sky's moving, but you're in orbit above the Earth,
and so they
wouldn't,
go over
wouldn't
that.
you lose where you're like the position that you're
So the
over?
plane, just a plane getting off, it should have to adjust to the spinning of the Earth, a plane. But it doesn't.
But I mean,
And they show that on that same video. I've
commercial
mentioned.
airliners, like, what do they top at, like 500-600 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Something like that. It's not 66,000 miles an hour.
Well, and right. And so just coming down for a landing, you know, that there's so much, man.
5 miles of curvature. It's crazy. As soon as flat earthers found out about P900 cameras that are made by Nikon, where they can zoom in times 80, I think, and what's going on is like you can see a boat disappear with your naked eye, and that used to be proof alone. That used to be proof for the curvature of the Earth. But now you can watch the boat disappear with your naked eye, and then you can pull up this camera and you can zoom in on the boat that you just watched disappear, and you could bring it right back into full view, perfectly visible.
It's crazy.
visible.
There's no camera tricks. There's no illusions involved.
Yep.
Nothing. It's just perfectly back in.
Got a ton of those.
There's flat Earth proofs coming out all the time, every other day, it's just a matter of if you can find it or not. If it's going to surface in the right areas where people can share it. You know, they're trying to censor this stuff nonstop. There's just a mission to keep this.
So they're trying to censor it. That's when you should be worried that there's a problem, because if they had unequivocal proof, it would be a joke. There wouldn't be a bunch of flat earthers out there, you know, whatever. And I'm not saying the earth is flat. I think there's a better way to, I just think what I'm hearing from all these people is they just don't even know. We don't know what the earth, but what all they're just disproving what they're saying is final science.
Or we're just not being told everything.
Yeah. Right.
Stuff buried.
I picked the wrong video.
I got mad love for all the
This is still a hella good video.
Yeah.
flat earthers, man. Since day one, everybody's been doing their part, putting in work, and just picking up where they're finding slack, they'll pick it up. You know what I mean? Like, there's no spot in flat earth that is not covered. They're covering their zone, their quadrants, and they're just taking care of business, man. And if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for all of us,
It's hard to see far ahead of you, but other times,
You could probably see the Rockies from Kansas.
Wow.
But clear, it's a clear day, but if it's smoky or hazy, obviously we can't see
The
much.
world is so generous in its beauty, and you do your best to take pictures of it. It's just flat and gorgeous.
silly act or not, you took the words right out of my mouth. Earth is flat and gorgeous, but they trick you to believe something else. Not every pilot
There it
instantly
is.
connects the dots and keeps quiet. Sometimes it can hit them 25 years later.
Australië. En dan is van dit ding, we houden stand, dus dit blijft blauw en dit blijft vrij. Het is niet zo dat we opeens een omklappen de verkeerde kant op. En dit was voor mij dat ik dacht, oh man, waar heb ik dat nooit eerder gezien na 25 jaar in de cockpit? Dus zo geïndoctrineerd zijn we dus allemaal.
We're
Ja, het is
indoctrinated.
gewoon heel vervelend. Het is gewoon heel vervelend. Dat je daar al die jaren naar hebt gekeken en dat het kwartje nooit is gevallen. En
Better late than never. Most pilots may have skipped over their training manuals. In their Flight Dynamics Summary, Section 112 explains all you'll need to know about what you're flying over. Heck, the military knows the same thing.
No, what did it say?
It said the Earth is flat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
It was where they blocked out in yellow. It said it was like a pilot's manual.
Oh, it's a pilot's manual?
Yeah. It was after that. Yeah.
Is after this?
After when she's talking.
Okay.
For sure.
Better late than never. Most pilots may have skipped over their training manual.
First line.
Oh.
There is a flat Earth. There's a non-rotating Earth.
When was
Oh,
this?
No, it says making assumptions. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Describe the flight dynamics with equations. This is, however, very difficult. To simplify it a bit, we have to make some simplifying assumptions. So these are assumptions they make. There is a flat Earth.
And it's non-rotating. The Earth is non-rotating.
The aircraft has constant mass, rigid body, symmetric.
There are no rotating masses. Interesting. This is a flight manual.
In their Flight Dynamics Summary, Section 112 explains all you'll need to know about what you're flying over. Heck, the military knows the same thing. NASA admits it as well. In tons of documents available to the public. They just assumed nobody would pay attention.
This comes from the Army Research Laboratory. This one's from the CIA. There's another one from NASA. This report documents the definitions of linear aircraft model for the rigid aircraft of consistent mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. This comes right from our own government. Now, I have available 44 documents. Who do I give it to, sir? You can go to the city clerk, please. Which is this person. So what I want is a law that's passed that we can't teach anything about the flow. We have to teach the truth of how things are.
From the documents to the imagery, they are not flying around a curve heading to outer space. They are flying over a stationary, flat plane. Stop falling for the illusions. Every rocket goes up and then levels out. Most of NASA's rockets launch from Florida and head towards the Bermuda Triangle. Well, besides the occasional. They're not shy about showing the truth in plain sight. 125 alleged miles up, and they show you our level horizon with a local sun. Then quickly switch cameras to their fisheye lens, as if that didn't just happen. You have to pick one. You can't have both. Looks as if their cameras go about as high as most hot air balloons do before they burst. Who do they think they're fooling? But let me guess. You saw the curvature in the images from satellites. The thousands of magical orbiting aluminum tin cans floating in space. It's all animation and games until one comes crashing down on your squad. Many crashed satellites have been reported the world over. And the one thing they all have in common is giant helium balloons attached to them. Of course, satellite technology is real. We get our weather information, communication equipment, and even some internet service from them. Look up Google Loon, for example. It's not that they wouldn't use the magical floating satellites if they could, it's that they don't physically exist, nor does the globe. They have been sending these up one at a time since it all began. I will allow them to explain it.
And he got a patent on that in 1950. And those early balloons were so large, they didn't have any way to launch them, except they actually launched them from aircraft carriers.
Modern scientific ballooning was born. It was also the genesis for NASA's newly developed super pressure balloon.
The reason for super pressure balloon is they have absolutely stable altitude day, night. And it doesn't matter how cold the atmosphere is. They are sealed.
So your shape is always the same. You always displace the same amount of air, and therefore you have the same amount of buoyancy all the time.
This day-to-night altitude stability allows super pressure balloons and the...
Hi, I'm Matt, and this is NASA Now.
NASA's been using balloons for science research for over 30 years. The exploration that can be done on balloons is continuing to grow. The standard balloon that I fly is about 660 feet long when it's made. So when it's inflated, it's over 400 feet tall by 440 feet wide. Think of a dome stadium. That's how big my balloons are.
So let me get this straight. It is now public knowledge that they send up satellites on massive helium-filled balloons. As you should know, NASA is the largest consumer of helium in the world, for obvious reasons. But the issue with society is that they never critically think. Just think for a second here. If these are sent up to provide the world with all of the important information...
We're not supposed to critically think, okay? We're supposed to just obey and say, yes, sir, it's the science.
...we need. And I'm sure the entire process is expensive and difficult to accomplish. Then please explain to me, what in the flat world do these pathetic animations do for you? Do they make you happy inside? Are they so super duper cool that you cannot see past the obvious CGI? The fact of the matter is everything NASA sends up on a balloon simply hovers above our motionless Earth. That is why...
And I'm not joking, for 45 minutes straight, I watched Elon's video, up into space, and I just did. I didn't even know what I was looking at after a long while.
Did it look CGI?
No.
Okay.
It just didn't make sense. We'll have to watch
Did
that.
you see a horizon? Or was it just...
I kept looking, and I couldn't tell.
Okay.
I couldn't tell. It didn't look perfectly flat. I remember thinking there was just a slight curvature, but again, that's what they're saying. It's fisheye lenses. And on this next video that's much shorter, I'll show it real quick. It's like at the beginning, tons of the visuals on the fisheye stuff.
They rarely speak about orbiting satellites, and of course, they never show footage. Here is some footage of a random evening with a man, the moon, and his Nikon P900. Notice anything floating up there?
Forget it, Bart. It's so bright out you can't see anything in the sky except the Fox satellite.
Another remarkable fact about NASA's balloon launches is that many are launched from Antarctica. Is it because we cannot travel past certain parallels to witness their launches with our own eyes? What else are they hiding from us over there? It would be nice if someone was allowed to truly explore Antarctica again. It sure has been a while since the last guy.
Greetings to you, my young friend. Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. Strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored. But more important than that, it has to do with the future of the nation, those to come after us, or even during your lifetime. Because it happens to be an untouched reservoir of natural resources.
Oh, look at that horizon.
An area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being.
Since late 2014,
one of the biggest things I've heard, the earth is flat. Why don't you find the edge and fall off? Why don't you make up an expedition and gather people and go find the edge and take a picture of the edge? Well, my response is, can you fall off the edge of a lake, pond, an ocean? Let's see if you have any imagination left in that brain of yours. And pretend this is all the water in the world. This is the 71% covered earth-filled pond. All the water of the world. So let's just say this is trillions upon trillions upon trillions of gallons. You've got the continents, the islands in the middle. In the center where all compasses point, you can circumnavigate, circle the lake or the pond left or right. But as you venture outwards towards the banks, towards outer space, what happens? Once you pass that 60th degree parallel and you hit the ice wall, the ice cliff of Antarctica, what happens? Do you fall off the edge? Is there an edge here?
Is there an edge here?
Because we know the physics of water is defined and maintained level if you've been paying attention. And also, water must be contained. It is contained. We climb up the banks and we keep going outward, southward. What happens to their control when millions of people travel
beyond the 60th parallel?
They knew this was going to get out. They knew people were going to wake up. What if Star Wars is true? What if this extraterrestrial, these extra terrains, they're telling us the truth, minus the vacuum of space, because they got to put a Hollywood spin on it, don't they? Star Wars, Star Trek. What if you Globers can have your Star Wars and your Star Trek at the same time? Isn't that awesome? How does that make you feel? The timeline goes as follows. So in 1955, Operation Deep Freeze starts. And when Admiral Richard Byrd gets back, he comes on live television and tells us he found more land the size of North America. They quickly start NASA. President Eisenhower calls over the Nazi traitors, Operation Paperclip, to start the upper space mind control program. Don't look out there. Look up here. Look, everybody. We're going to the moon. Then, in 1959, 12 nations started the Antarctic Treaty, followed by 42 more nations where they have decided you or I cannot travel or explore any part of Antarctica, south or past the 60th parallel, without military clearance, without the aid of a guided tour. Do you really think that this is just a coincidence?
More. Imagine they find more land. Imagine there is more land out there, more to explore, more to reside, more resources. You think they tell you and I about it?
I'm sure a lot of you have heard about my $200,000 Globe Challenge.
They're hiding it from us, Matt. What the hell's going on in this world, people?
But why?
Up is down and down is up.
There's something past it. We're under it.
And up to this point, no one has been successful at completing the challenge. We've had a few clowns here and there that have stepped up to the plate. Here we go. And claimed victory. But at the end of the day, you can't make water stick to the bottom of a ball, much less spinning. Okay? You can't show where sea level turns to sea curve. There's no curvature on the x-axis or y-axis.
That stuff is flat.
It's
Here's
flat.
a fair challenge here for Neil deGrasse Tyson. Why don't you get off your fat, lazy butt and out from behind your screens and your scripts?
Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning and got a little wider at the.
Due to debate, one of them flat Earth guys.
No, I can't. No.
I know. We talked about it and we're going to have them on Skype.
No, what we do is, and I think this is a diabolical plot, so that the next time we can ship.
Well, it's not a debate. I mean, just show me the pictures of the Earth. There should be millions and millions of pictures of the Earth, just straight up.
Well, like you said,
Not
one or two pictures would, well, maybe more than one or two. but
right.
Like a few.
We got all those
photos,
satellites. We got Juno out there. We got, they're flying out there looking at the core of Jupiter.
Or like you said, the photo of somebody upside down.
Yeah.
Swimming. Or
Yeah. Like on that down bottom part of Earth, it should be driving upside down. If you're looking at a ball.
But that of itself could be staged, an upside down photo.
Right. So like if they're on the bottom side of the Earth and a satellite should be looking at it, the Earth is round, should be driving like this way. Huh.
Get people en masse into orbit. They all want to be the first in line because they know we're going to send them, so that they can see it around Earth. They're going to be the first ones in space, just so they can stop annoying the rest of us.
I don't think you're correct.
And I know that you're not correct.
So I saw a pretty damning video of Joe Rogan, man, that I probably should expose.
Yeah.
It was it's weird. Like
Well,
how
right there, I guess he basically said he believes flat Earth.
Oh, Joe did?
Well,
I
the
thought
internet,
Joe was mocking it.
I think. Well, maybe he was. It sounded like he was saying that he didn't believe it.
Okay.
Why the backpedaling, Neil? You already agreed to debate me on Joe Rogan's podcast. The show was scheduled, posted on Joe's site, announced on air twice, and then you suddenly decided that you, quote, don't debate flat earthers. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. Someone at NASA told Neil, we're not going to let you go head-to-head with Eric Dubé because he'll make you look foolish. Prove me wrong.
Whoa. Prove him wrong. I mean, the CGI is pretty convincing. Matt, yeah.
I'm coming with the disruption. With all my flat earth homies on a Hitler production. Separate fiction from fact, we're gonna end the corruption. Letting people know the earth is flat, end of discussion. Dave Murphy is your teacher, boy.
Okay. So, yeah. Go ahead. Go. All right. So he's got some interesting stuff. It's organized differently. Is it this one?
You have been trained to obey. I'm questioning.
And what's so bizarre is that people are like afraid to debate this. Why are we afraid to have a discussion about it? I heard it the other day. Like somebody said if someone is a flat earther, I immediately already know they're a dumbass. Well, why? Why is that? That's called indoctrination. That's not a good place to be.
Just our common sense, everyday perception of the Earth. It is flat, as far as we can tell. It is motionless, as far as we can tell. And everything in the sky is revolving around us, as far as we can tell. If nobody told us otherwise, we'd logically assume that the Earth was flat, motionless, with everything in the sky revolving around us. And you can prove that this is the case as well. For instance, with the horizon, as you rise up, no matter how high you go on the top of Mount Everest, or if you go in a balloon higher and higher, we've gotten independent balloons have gone up with cameras. The horizon remains flat all the way around and rises to the eye of the camera all the way up, totally flat, and rises to the eye of the observer. So that's one proof. Now, if the Earth were a ball, no matter how big, the horizon is said to be the curvature of the ball.
If you were to go to NASA, it's all fraud, it's all fake. Pretty much everything NASA puts out is fraudulent. There are no images of Earth from space. Put an end to this topic once and for all, turn the Hubble round and show us Earth in real time, but they will not do it. They can't do it. It doesn't exist. It literally doesn't exist. Looking at these images of Earth, including the one called the Big Blue Marble, which was released in 2002, I think. Zoom into it with Photoshop, you'll see where they've used the clone tool in Photoshop to take a picture of one of the clouds and stamp it in various places around the picture. They got lazy.
If the Earth is 25,000 miles in circumference, there must exist a curvature drop of 8 inches times the mile when you square the mile. 1 mile means there should be an 8-inch curvature drop. 2 miles, 2 times 2 times 8 is 32. That's 32-inch drop. 3 miles would be a 72-inch drop. And this would exponentially continue. Here's the longest bridge in the world, the Danyang Kongchon Grand Bridge in China. 102.4 miles long. There should exist nearly 7,000 feet of curvature drop in that bridge. 7,000 foot curvature drop. Do you see it? It ain't there. Look at the horizon. It's flat.
You can see in that dive shot that the inside camera, the horizon is completely flat. Then it goes to the outside, and you got a huge curve. But when you're looking at some of the amateur balloon footage, some of it's lens corrected, and it's completely flat. And others, like the GoPro stuff, the horizon will fluctuate as the camera spins and tilts. The horizon will go convex and concave, a lens effect. It's obviously not the horizon shifting every 2 seconds as the camera jumps. And when it's still, you can see it all the way up, totally flat.
NASA is essentially Hollywood, and all the images that you think you've seen of a spinning ball are fakes. And all the amateur balloon and rocket footage that we've sent up there shows a flat horizon that rises all the way up, and that's impossible on a ball.
Humans, for the most part, so it's the fisheye lens versus the normal lens.
Don't have a clue. They don't want one or need one either. They're happy. They think they have a good bead on things.
But why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
The person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. Imagine what you know.
The horizon, for instance, is always completely flat, and you don't feel any motion. So if you were just born today and looked out, you wouldn't assume that you're standing on a spinning ball. You'd assume that you were on a flat, motionless plane. So to assume that we are on a spinning ball is actually contrary to our common sense and our everyday experience. And there's also experiments that have been done to test whether we're on a spinning ball or not.
My question was, why, if it's a flat Earth, why couldn't you stand on the coast of California with a telescope and see Japan or Hawaii or something? And I think you know the answer to that. I'll let you answer that.
Yeah. You can't see an unlimited distance. The lowest layer is the densest and not transparent. So if you imagine like a hot, humid day, the haze over a road, all telescopes will eventually blur out in that same kind of way due to the air. So no, you can't see an infinite distance.
Is the Earth flat or round? It's round. Okay, now let's see. How do we go about proving that? Go to the seashore. Go to a seashore. Watch. As ships sail away, they don't disappear all at once. Now, first, the bottom will disappear. See, the bottom of the ship is gone. Now we can see midway up, and then the whole thing disappears. Now, ships came back. They didn't fall off the table. So people realized that the world is curved. I mean, it's a big curve, but it's curved. So the process of testing claims, the world is flat, the world is round, is what we call science. Now, if you have a claim, it can't be tested.
That's right.
Pseudoscience. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary.
Listen, Bill Nye is the science guy. He understands the flux capacitor gigawatt crystals.
He was also recently awarded the Medal of Freedom.
Yes.
By, President Joe Biden.
That's right. He is the man, baby. Yeah, disprove him. Let's go.
Extraordinary proof. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof.
Boats don't disappear over the curvature of the horizon. Boats disappear due to perspective. All you have to do is go to the beach, watch a boat disappear from your eye, and then whip out your telescope, your binoculars, or your high-powered zoom on your camera, and you can pull the entire boat right back into view. Whole mass and all. Yeah, that's right. You think the boat disappeared? Just whip out your telescope, your binoculars, or your zoom camera. You bring the entire boat back into view, completely debunking everything Coy just told you. And here's my video proof.
Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof.
Imagine that. You can debunk the curvature of the Earth
Like the
yourself
whole
with just a
thing.
simple zoom on your camera. Bye-bye, little boat.
I mean, you can see the bottom of the boat there. The whole, and he's standing on the sand on the shore there.
The flat Earth? Well, that didn't stand up to test. The round Earth did. And you guys, come on. Everybody watches newscasts. You all use mobile phones. You all see airplanes fly around. You all go to see Ed Sheeran in concert one day in London, another day in Melbourne, Australia. This all depends on our fundamental understanding of the size of the Earth and its shape with extraordinary precision.
What the fuck did you just say?
The way we teach science is you're just some empty vessel and we pour the science into you and then you regurgitate it on an exam. Because Earth, we know it spins once a day. Yes.
Off to a great start.
So you spin, when you spin pizza dough, it kind of flattens out. It gets wider in the middle. And so Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning. And it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the pole. Not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
Yeah. Chubby's a good word. It's like pear-shaped.
Yeah.
So it turns out the pear-shapedness is bigger than the height of Mount Everest above sea level. Well, let me just so you understand. We've been fed a lie, I want to call it a lie. We've been
It's
fed.
a point of view thing, I think.
Earth has been misrepresented to us by
science.
Pear-shaped.
Science.
So they're all trying to figure out, is the universe spinning around us or are we spinning around the universe? They tell you, we don't know shit. We're looking at a bunch of lights in the goddamn sky. You're going to tell me?
Hey, now we have the gigawatt flex capacitor, and we know that there's billions and trillions and trillions and trillions of galaxies, and each galaxy has billions and billions of stars. Come on. There's a star out there, you know what I'm saying? It's like as big as our entire solar system almost. We know all about it. It's only like 4.5 billion light years away. I mean, we can see that. You know what I'm saying?
That light and that light, that's 100 trillion light years away. How the fuck did you figure that out?
Don't they have an explanation for that shit?
No, exactly. That's what you just said right now. What you just said now is what everyone's natural reaction. Because anytime someone says anything about space, you automatically think someone figured it out. You don't know the guy's name. You don't know the name of the experiment. You didn't look into it yourself. You just think when someone tells you how far is the Earth from the sun.
Yeah, that was proven CGI. All this, Jupiter, all these are always CGI'd. And they blur it and make it harder to tell, Oh, this is the real one here. And then it's like, well, actually it's just CGI kind of blurred out. So you can't like test it and really prove that it's CGI. Is all that really means.
Sun. They'll say, 93 million miles away. Like you just, everybody relies on someone figured that out and someone double checked it.
Now look, it's A divided by 360 degrees equals X over 2TI times distance. You understand? Now what they're missing is times the square root of the gigawatt flux capacitor times the crystals, the diameter of the crystals.
You're going on what you read right now, cosmology, and they don't know what the fuck to do. You know what they found out? The cosmic microwave background shows that all the galaxies are on shelves lined up to us, that we're at the fucking center. They don't know what to think about it. There's a lot of controversy going on about it.
Well, you should see the stars do all sorts of strange motions, but you don't.
Okay, so we just kind of realized the new reason is because there's a whole bunch of land that's not on our globe that we that we know of. So they've shrinked the Earth on the globe, and they're hiding a bunch of land and Project Bluebeam. Okay. Those are two, and the money that goes to NASA and all this, and it's like $500 million of like you have to get the bureaucracy to sign off on it. You have to get the licenses to send a satellite up there, and it's like $500 million. And there's just a lot of money. NASA's like, it's coming out, and Elon has been exposing it, but he hasn't really hammered down on NASA yet. A little bit, but NASA's just a big fat money laundering baloney. I mean, they do good CGI work. We'll give them that.
You only see them make these perfect circles. That tells me that it's the stars that are moving, not the Earth.
The Copernicus principle, the one that we live by, is that we're insignificant. We mean nothing. We're a speck in the universe. That's the heliocentric model that we go around the sun.
Wait.
The geocentric.
Wait, did you guys see that? All right.
Stars that are moving, not the Earth.
The Copernicus principle, the one that we live by, is that we're insignificant. We mean nothing. We're a
see it? I see us. That's our solar system. And so there's all these just right here in this one little, galaxy. And we see all these other like thousands of galaxies with billions of stars in each one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what are they trying to say that they have a camera out that far?
I mean, we have these gigantic, satellites, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it shoots laser radar vibrational frequencies. So we can just, we can see it all. They only CGI it so we can just see it better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Yeah.
Imagine what kind of distance that would actually be right there.
Like we
The
got,
sun is 93 million miles, and the sun is in that little.
yeah.
point.
I mean, we got this satellite out here like 18 Google billion miles away, just looking at look. Isn't that a beautiful, galaxy and a whole bunch of other galaxies? Like, see this one right here?
It's probably Andromeda.
That's got like 800 billion stars in there, right there. But it's like almost seems like it's in front, but it's behind. It's an optical illusion in that one. Yeah.
Speck in the universe. That's the heliocentric model that we go around the sun. The geocentric model means that everything goes around us. That's what this is in the Bible. That's what the first astronomers were saying. Ptolemy was the first one to say, yeah, we are the center. You can tell based on these observations, everything's revolving around us.
Earth is the center of the universe, and we stand still, and the universe spins around us.
You know what? They've lied so much. NASA's lied so goddamn much that I don't believe shit.
I see. They've got that satellite image.
I mean, how conceited to think we're the center of the universe. Like, come on. Just conceited. Like, yeah, arrogant humans from 1,000 years ago. You guys are like a bunch of barbarians that don't know science. Like, come on.
That frozen moon. What's that frozen moon?
Oh, let me see if that's CGI. Find that They got a picture of a frozen fucking moon. I guarantee you it's CGI. No way they can take a picture.
Watch. No, the most bizarre. One of the most bizarre. Okay, let's point out some of the most bizarre things that's just obvious, total BS. Is that the moon, we can only ever see one side of the moon. That is 100%, I don't buy it. Another thing is that we have no just normal actual pictures of the Earth when we should have millions of pictures of the Earth. No question about it. I mean, we know that the core of Jupiter is fuzzy. You're telling me we don't have any pictures of the Earth that's not CGI. Red flag. Number 3 was what he just said. What did he say? I already forgot.
Take a picture.
Oh, the number 3 was NASA. We just like 60 years ago, we lost, we destroyed, what I'm saying, our technology. And I'll tell you what, that thing's a doozy to redo that technology to fly to the moon. I mean, we'd have, we'd be all over that moon if we hadn't destroyed our technology from the 60s, to get to the moon.
It still doesn't make sense to me.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, guys, the science is final. We just have to understand NASA's shortcomings here a little bit. The trillions of dollars over the years. Nothing to see here. Come on. We shouldn't even question this. You're a science denier to just question, right? I mean, that's scientific to never question vaccines, like what's going on with the Earth here. I don't hear anybody actually saying just the Earth is flat and then you just fall off the Earth. No, nobody's saying that. Okay. All right. So that argument kind of goes out the window. Like, show us, how about this? Let's start here. Elon, just send us a picture of the Earth that's not CGI. How about that? Can we get one? I mean, millions? We should have millions, right?
Watch as the sunlight shrinks and follows the sun. It's definitely a locally illuminating sun, not far away, not very big, and definitely not 93 million miles away.
What's going on there? Yeah, look at the beam. That's another kind of obvious one. The beams.
So my only.
There's just no way.
We talked about that earlier, but my only thing is they say whenever light hits the water in the clouds, like the refracting the light changes the angle of the light.
Yeah, but it's all in uniform symmetry.
Yeah, in a cloud.
If that were the case, it would be like all over the place. Right. Rays, just kind of not making sense. This is totally uniform. Boom, 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 and it's always that way.
Yeah, and that's not just.
And so
photo. You see that
we're just like a grain of sand compared to the sun, apparently. And the sun is like, a huge basketball compared to a grain of sand. It's just straight parallel rays. 100% is what that should be. Not slanted rays. That's another kind of obvious red flag. Should be. I remember somebody pointed that out to me years ago, and I was like, huh. I had to maybe it's like an optical illusion or something, because I was debating them.
The last video talked about doing like the angles of the rays, and you should be able to calculate how far away the sun actually is.
And it's
I
like
don't remember
3,600 miles.
Is that what they?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't recall them actually giving a distance.
Yep.
Based on the app.
Yep.
I wonder if those angles ever change. Like if I'm sure they've looked into it, but
Yeah. No, there's a lot on that. Just on that one thing, just the angle of the rays.
Yeah.
So the sun's getting smaller when the atmosphere is in certain conditions. Sometimes it gets real big when it's setting. That's when the atmosphere.
There's a place in Bolivia called Salar del Uyuni, which is a salt flat. It's literally 100 miles wide one way and 80 miles across, and it's perfectly flat. When it rains, literally you get an inch of water, and it looks like a perfect mirror. Now, how does that happen on a sphere? Yeah, it shows you that if you're one end of this salt flat, you can see perfectly clearly the other end 100 miles away. So it's just showing you that the Earth is flat, and without the effect of the waves in the sea, you'll be able to see a whole lot further.
So if nothing else, it warrants the conversation. The science is never final ever on anything ever. Science is always testable. You always want to try and prove it wrong. Always. That is the spirit of science. It's 101, the foundational piece of science. You always test it. With vaccines, there should be nothing to hide, nothing to worry about. Let's test it. Let's make vaccines great again. With this, if you've got explanation, let's have the conversation. No more. Listen, no more. We're just going to trust the science. Sorry, that's gone. So if you're a dumbass, if you're just going to be indoctrinated and believe what you've been told your whole life. I mean, we've been through enough to know that. It's obvious. And so anyone questioning that the Earth, is just, I automatically write them off as a dumbass. Well, no, maybe you're the dumbass. I mean, okay, fine. Let's just do the basics. Let's just go to the basics. Show me a picture of the Earth from outer space. Let's see it. We don't have one. Sorry. I mean, it's just like, come on. Right? I'm not saying I don't know shit about shit. I'm just saying, sorry, I'm not going along with any narratives ever again my whole life. That's one thing we've learned. We're not just going to trust the science. F off. That's anti-science. That is literally anti-science. That's called indoctrination. That's called tyranny. That's what they did in the 1500s when they hung Galileo and put him to death because he said whatever, the Earth is round. Nope. That's tyranny. Science is always up for question and debate, period. And anyone who says else, get out of here. You're done. No, you're the dumbass. Period.
Took a picture across the Great Lakes from Michigan and was able to see Chicago, which he shouldn't have been.
That was an optical illusion. That's literally what they say. This is an optical illusion. Like, we actually can't see that. It's an optical illusion. You'll see it. They speak that right there on the news. They speak to it.
Which he shouldn't have been able to see. And the television station basically said it was a mirage.
The mirage.
This photo, Randmere State Park. This is from Joshua Nowicki. And what you're seeing here is a mirage. You typically would not be able to see this from the Lake Michigan shore. We talked about this last night. Conditions are right on the lake that we're actually seeing a mirage of the Chicago skyline. very interesting here. Here's what
That's amazing science, you know, and then they explain the mirage here. Oh, this is science right here. Okay, nothing to see there.
happening. This is a good example of a superior mirage. So Joshua was on the Lake Michigan shore. He was looking towards the west, and Chicago's beyond the horizon. Should not be able to see it. However, with the right conditions, we have an inversion. We have cold air near the cold lake water and some relatively warmer air above it. This will bend the image of that skyline back towards the viewer. And so
the image is bent. And maybe that's true. All right, let's have the conversation. Hello.
To be fair, there is science, like
Sure.
I mentioned with the rays and stuff of light bending.
Yes.
So
hey, let's talk about it. But they don't want to talk about it. What are they trying to hide? Right? Science is, we're good. You know, I'm perfectly okay with you trying to debate me that 2 + 2 = 5. That's no problem. Like, yeah, go ahead. You know, you can go ahead and spread all that misinformation you want. It doesn't really bother me. Does it bother you? You know, maybe millions of people out there actually believe that 2 + 2 = 5. Well, no problem. No problem.
typically we would not be able to see this. This image would be viewable from much, much higher in the sky.
This is crazy. You got to start the video over. Start from scratch, 2x speed, boys and girls.
They always say it's a mirage, but for a mirage to happen, you have to have very specific atmospheric conditions. It's not a mirage. It's simply that you're looking across at the plane.
Now, how come in all these ball pictures, man, you can see all the continents pretty much, and there's just a little bit of clouds here and there. Man, it's like some of these.
Wow. And guess what? It's CGI. All of it's always CGI. I freaking love you too, Skiller.
Pictures, like there's some where they show the Earth at night and you can see all the lights and stuff. It's like, you're telling me the entire continent didn't have clouds? The entire fucking continent, like you can see Africa and all these lights and all this stuff. Like, you know, if you turn on your porch.
Notice how we see stars behind the Earth. Did you notice that earlier?
Light, I guess you can see it from space, apparently. And it's like there's no clouds in some of these pictures.
They spelled out the words.
The entire fucking continent, like you can see Africa and all these lights and all this stuff. Like, you know, if you turn on your porch light, I guess you can see it from space, apparently. And it's like there's no clouds in some of these pictures.
They spelled out the word sex, right, recently, probably a few months ago, in one of the clouds.
But, you know, if they do their research, they say, well, those are composites. And I said, well, how come they copy and paste the clouds on some of these? And they use the same platform. Like, if you're going to make a composite, but you shouldn't be copying and pasting clouds. That means you're adding stuff that's not real.
Yeah, and the thing is, those pictures that you're talking about, the blue marble pictures, you know, I think it's about maybe 8 to 10 of them over time that NASA has put out. And you're absolutely right. None of those pictures look the same. The color of the water is different. Like you said, the continents are different sizes. It's just unbelievable. And I think what happened originally was they put these things out and nobody was paying any attention to it. You know, and then all of a sudden now people are paying attention to it. And now they're pulling these pictures in and it's an obvious fraud. And the thing is, there's supposedly tens of thousands of satellites orbiting Earth.
Freaking love you, Skiller.
Earth.
Yep, Fred, good job on adding the purple. That was good. Good job.
We can't get any close-ups of Earth. We can't get a view of Australia with the buildings upside down.
And they'll look at you like you're crazy. But really, you're the sane one for asking real questions. They're the fucking idiots for just repeating school book bullshit. That's how it works. I was taught school book bullshit in public school, and somehow I was able to break free and free my mind. You know how I did it? I watched NASA rockets explode a bunch of times. Fly off sideways and not go to space.
If you watch the trajectory of the space shuttle, it doesn't go straight up. It always goes in a curve and out to sea. point is they actually go horizontal. The space shuttle goes horizontal. It never goes any further up. It goes horizontal, very, very low down in the atmosphere. You know, it's still in the atmosphere while it's horizontal, so it never gets any higher. And it goes.
Now, Fishy Foods knows his science, baby, and he does think the Earth is flat. Let's go.
Goes out of sight, not because it goes too high, because it goes too far downrange. And they have a plane that's mocked up to look like a space shuttle.
You guys realize that if an actual scientist teaches that the Earth is flat, they completely strip him of all his credentials. A professor, sorry, you're out. They don't want it questioned. That's when you know it's not science. That's anti-science. There has to be the discussion, but they're covering something up. They're hiding something.
It's a jet-powered aircraft. That's it. It's not a glider. It's an aircraft. And that's what they're fooling us, taking billions of dollars in and giving us images and fake planes for that 10 billion, however many billions of dollars it is.
Could that be a money laundering scheme? Trillions?
What goes up must come down. And literally, we have not ever seen anything that has ever gone up and not come down.
One thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go.
Wait, Bill Nye just changed his science?
Rockets don't have brakes. It literally stopped. All of that angular momentum from the rotation of the rocket and the linear momentum from flying up just stopped. No, it had to hit something. But what did it hit? If it hit a solid surface, the rocket would have been destroyed. And most likely the camera too, so we wouldn't have the footage. And obviously that's not the case.
That's exactly right, Fishy Foods. We went over that. I know. You're exactly spot on. We have been over a lot. Yeah, man, for real. It's for real. I don't know if the Earth is flat or what the hell, but what we do know is the bullshit they're pumping out is a bunch of BS, except the part of Jupiter having a fuzzy core. That's pure proven unequivocal science. The fuzzy core of Jupiter is the most amazing discovery in our lifetime. Jupiter, boys and girls, has a fuzzy core, and we know that because of the gigawatt flux capacitor combined with the crystals. All right, you can't forget about the crystals.
Kicks and deals. It's a long fly ball going back, and the ball shatters the sky, bringing the ocean itself down into the stadium.
That's the firmament. Yep, the dome.
Oh, Simpson just broke this dream's reality wide open.
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now.
There's no place to go.
This is no joke.
This.
Yep.
Siri, is the Earth a ball?
Just the beginning of this is so good.
A ball? Heavens no. How could you only let a ball? That doesn't seem possible. The Earth is clearly flat.
There's Siri being honest. Oh. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusion destroyed.
So mainstream science tells us that the Earth formed 4.6 billion years ago after a big bang that created.
Nope. It's 4.8 billion years ago. Get the details matter here. Come on. All right.
The known universe. This wild theory is widely accepted as fact, and it's mechanically repeated by most people due to the fact that it's what public schools teach to the kids without challenge. There is absolutely no possible way to determine whether or not an event took place that long ago. It's actually very strange that anyone would believe this nonsense. Mainstream science also tells us that life on Earth evolved into monkeys, which eventually evolved into us. There's only one huge gaping problem with the theory of evolution. We are not only missing one link between monkeys and humans, but we are missing hundreds, if not thousands, of evolutionary links. Maybe more. They want us to believe.
Yep, which is literally a statistical impossibility. So just the fact that the Earth is here in the first place is a complete and statistical impossibility. It's one in essentially infinity chances. It's one in Googles of chances. Then just the fact that there's a living cell or organism that just came from nothing is also a one in Google, essentially one in infinity chance. Impossible. Then for that microorganism to become a fish is also a one in infinity chance. It's impossible. Then for that fish to become a monkey, it's one in infinity chance. It's impossible. Then for the monkey to even have an eyeball, with 25 million nerve endings inside the eyeball is also, let alone balls and then the in a vagina and mating and sperm and then one in infinity chance of that just somehow happening. And then for a monkey to become a human is also, and to have 25 million nerve endings in an eye, all of it's impossible. So that's also, a stretch. And then then they go as far as to say, because the universe is infinite, and we can see that, by the way, 14 billion light years out there, we can see. And so, we shoot our lasers out there and our radar with our vibrational, gigawatt flux capacitor with crystals. And so we see the infinite universe. And so there has to be tons of other aliens, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? But it's the same for the aliens. It's a one in infinity chance. So to say it's ignorant, this is how far they go. You're the audacity and the ignorance to believe we're the only ones out here. I mean, do you not know there's trillions of other planets out there? I mean, come on, the ignorance. Well, no, it's like one in infinity chance that we're here, let alone more than one actually made it out, of the soup and the Big Bang and all that happened, not 13.8 billion years ago. It's actually 14.058. But Fishy Foods, of course, gave us, the science that it's actually 27.768 billion years ago. And we know that. We even know all the way down to the first trillionth of a trillionth of a trillionth of a trillionth of a second. Exactly. We can tell you, science tells us exactly what happened in each 1 trillionth of a second. And they're called epochs, and all kinds of things happen, in those epochs. You know what I'm saying? All right. So come on, people.
That one day we fell out of a monkey's ass and we landed on a spinning ball that's advancing through outer space at ridiculous speeds. We are being deceived.
Let's put it in perspective. They think they came from monkeys.
No, I mean, we got to listen to that.
There's only one huge gaping problem.
This is so
public schools teach to the kids to go after a big bang that created the known universe. This wild theory is widely accepted as fact, and it's mechanically repeated by most people due to the fact that it's what public schools teach to the kids without challenge. There is absolutely no possible way to determine whether or not an event took place that long ago. It's actually very strange that anyone would believe this nonsense. Mainstream science also tells us that life on Earth evolved into monkeys, which eventually evolved into us. There's only one huge gaping problem with the theory of evolution. We are not only missing one link between monkeys and humans, but we are missing hundreds, if not thousands, of evolutionary links. Maybe more.
All right, this motherfucker's obviously a science denier. I mean, come on.
They want us to believe that one day we fell out of a monkey's ass and we landed on a spinning ball that's advancing through outer space at ridiculous speeds. We are
correction. It was a cosmic fart. And that's how we all came to be.
Being deceived.
Let's put it in perspective. They think they came from monkeys. Okay? I don't care how many letters they have after their name. You know, these guys go to school, they read books, they come out believing they came from monkeys, and then they have the audacity to say that we're the stupid ones. Listen to what they have to say.
In the beginning, there was darkness, and then bang, giving birth to an endless expanding existence of time, space, and matter. Every day, new discoveries are unlocking the mysterious, the mind-blowing, the deadly secrets of a place we call the universe.
It is, of course, a mystery as to why the universe exists in such an intelligible manner, but it suggests to me, at least, that there's a deep link between the universe, the grand scheme that's unfolding, and beings like ourselves. Somehow, the universe has become self-aware. It's engineered the emergence of comprehending, thinking beings.
It's just an amazing mystery and all the wonder and splendor. It's like they're sitting, they're like kids in a candy store. They just get off on this. They get off on the authoritarian nature of it, and they know the science and they have the authority on this. It's like they're like kids creating a comic book, you know, and they're writing up their story and they're all into it. And they just get wild with their imagination. It's just amazing. I mean, there's stars 4.5 billion light years away that are as big as our whole entire solar system. You know what I'm saying? And we know, hey, we even know the planets going around that star. And we found some planets that are kind of like Earth, way out there. And we shoot our lasers, frequency radars out, and we can see that, you know, billions of light years away. Mm-hmm.
Like ourselves, who can come to know the universe.
Some people marvel at the fact that the universe has, over billions of years, given birth to beings who can appreciate its complexity. We can even ponder where and how we fit in. But
I love how the family's all sitting around the TV all eager. Oh, this is just amazing.
The dawn of history.
It's literally like we're watching a movie when we watch these documentaries. I mean, I could do 50 documentaries and they just wax eloquent with all this complicated algorithms and science, you know, talking about the first trillionth of a second, you know, this happened and that, and then billions of years ago. Like, even when you watch the documentary about the Earth and Morgan Freeman, and he's like going through, I mean, in detail, our entire Earth's history from 4.5 billion years ago. I mean, we know this. We see the patterns of the sky and the patterns of all the star formations based off the radar, lunar, you know, vibration, you know, radar that we shoot out there, and we can see it. You know what I'm saying? Out there.
People thought they knew the answers to these profound questions.
The ancients viewed their world as a snow globe. It's essentially a flat Earth, say a disk, covered by a dome. And we call this in English a firmament. And in the firmament is where all the stars and the planets were hung.
Almost all ancient cultures believed their universe existed in a dome similar to this one. And they never questioned who created it.
The ancients assumed that there was a god or gods responsible for the creation and the maintenance of the universe.
The idea that God created the universe went largely unchallenged until the Middle Ages, when scientists made a sacrilegious suggestion based on their observations. The sun, not the earth, was at the center of the universe.
It was a paradigm shift. There is now another way to explain the naturally occurring phenomena around us, and this is science.
Since the Middle Ages, scientists have developed sophisticated new theories about the enormity of the universe and our place in it. Theories that often have no room for God.
Many phenomena have appeared mysterious or miraculous or magical. And then through the process of science, we've eventually understood them. Scientists gradually realized that—
Love you, Skiller. There's so much to cover here. Man, that goes on. There's so much that we are missing. There's so much good stuff. This guy is pretty good, actually. Let's watch that real quick.
Crowley, Freemasonry with the sun over the head.
Yep.
Yeah, as above, so below. Yeah. One of the reasons why Mercury, because it can rise in the morning and the night, so it's also hermaphroditic. both sexes, which obviously is Baphomet as well, which we know as the breast and the penis. It goes on and on and on. It's all about cult sun worship. You can trace it back to Babylon. You can see all the different gods going through it, but there is no signs to Copernicus's on the revolutions of the spheres. It's a philosophical trap, and it's all based on the Hermetica.
Up is up, down is down. If I visual aid, I have a pin.
This is good stuff. We could go on forever. Seriously. It's so fun though. You know, watching them wax eloquent about all these gigantic stars. You know, let's look one up here real quick. Okay, let's search the biggest star in the universe. All right, check this out. Prepare to have your mind blown. All right, here we go.
On a clear, moonless night, above our heads we can observe thousands of glistening stars. But that's just what we can see with the unaided eye. Observe the galaxy with powerful telescopes, and billions more are revealed. In fact, the Milky Way galaxy alone is estimated to have between 100 to 400 billion stars. And look even further to our neighboring galaxies and beyond, and there are an uncountable amount.
I mean, that's some hella good CGI. And they do the CGI, remember, to help us understand, you know, what we're looking at. Because we can't just look at the raw footage of our laser frequencies shooting out there billions of light years away. I mean, they got to do it for us. All right.
More. The closest star to us, the Sun, appears enormous, the largest body in the solar system as it rises and sets every day. And although it dwarfs most things that come close to it, in reality, the Sun is just average sized. The universe boasts far larger stars that aren't just...
Oh, look at that. I mean, that's... we can see this star. We can see this one. We have our awesome telescopes and laser radars, and we can see this. All right. Right?
It's a pretty solid photo of the sun.
I know. I mean, that's an amazing shot. Unedited right there, right? Oh, wait. No, it's actually just CGI because that's our sun down here. And then that's a pretty big star, wouldn't you say?
Just a little bit bigger. They are stunningly bigger. So how big is the largest star we have observed so far? How big can stars theoretically grow? And whatever happened to UY Scooty?
Give this to the scientists. Here we go.
You're watching V101 Space. My name's Rob, and if you enjoy my videos, then remember to subscribe.
This is the same guy that discovered that Jupiter has a fuzzy core. Yeah, baby.
And tap the notification bell to never miss an upload. When it comes to the largest stars in the known universe, it depends on whether we are talking about mass or total volume. Mass can be thought of as how much matter a star contains, whereas volume is how much space it takes up. The most massive stars tend to be quite unremarkable when it comes to sheer size, and the most voluminous stars often contain a lot less matter considering their physical size. As stars get older, they tend to lose their mass. This is something that is happening to the sun as it grows in age. And
that's right. I mean, straight out of the storybook. I mean, it's kind of like I'm reading a comic book here, isn't it? Yeah. But these guys know what they're talking about because they went to school. They went to the universities and learned this. Okay. So you shouldn't question them because they know their SHIT right here.
Until eventually, in an estimated 5 billion years from now, after it has exhausted all of its nuclear fuel.
In an estimated 5 billion years, but now we know it's actually about 5.2 billion years before that sun, runs out of its gas, basically.
Will evolve into a bloated red giant, engulfing the orbits of Mercury, Venus, and possibly even Earth. And although this process will make our sun enormous, there are stars out there that come a lot bigger.
Yep.
Before we look at the largest by sheer physical size, let's look at the current largest by mass. Named BAT 99-98, this star is an estimated 226 times the mass of the sun. That's 226 suns worth of matter all crammed into one. How this star became so massive isn't fully understood, but it may be the result of two stars that once merged together. Scientific models suggest that BAT 99-98 is only 7.5 million years old, making it extremely young when you think of the age of the Sun at 4.6 billion years old, and that it is also shedding its mass at a rapid rate. Since its birth, models suggest it has lost 20 suns worth of mass already.
Yep.
Because of how active it is.
And we know this straight up. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I can't even begin to understand.
We can see it out there. It's only like 4.6 billion light years away. You know, this is science. Come on.
It is thought that it will inevitably end its life in a catastrophic way, most likely a supernova that leaves behind a black hole.
Oh.
But although BAT 99-98
We haven't even started with black holes yet. You know what I'm saying? All right.
is extremely massive, it is nowhere near the largest by physical size. With an estimated radius of 37.5 times that of the Sun, it doesn't even come close.
Yep.
If you type into Google, what is the largest star in the universe, you will receive pages of websites telling you it is UY Scuti, a red supergiant that just a few years ago was considered the largest star by physical size ever.
I mean, look at that. Look at that. Our telescopes are just killing it out here. You know what I'm saying? We can look and see how big that star is over there.
Observed. It was originally measured to be around 1,700 times the size of the Sun. However, it turns out that the distance of UY Scuti from Earth had been measured incorrectly, significantly altering its...
In other words, we were wrong then, but now we're right. We've got the science now. It's a grain of sand. Our sun is a grain of sand, and our Earth is a grain of sand to that sun. It's like it's almost as big as our freaking entire solar system.
Estimated radius to 775 times the size of the Sun, knocking it well and truly off that top spot. This new measurement actually puts UY Scuti closer in size to popular stars like Betelgeuse or Antares, still unbelievably enormous, but nowhere near the largest. In fact, it currently doesn't even make it into the top 80.
Not even in the top 80? Well, damn.
So what about another star that was also believed to be the largest just a couple of years ago? Named Stephenson 2-18, a possible red hypergiant star that was estimated to be so big, if it was placed in our solar system, it would engulf the orbit of Saturn. And if you could travel around it at the speed of light, it would take almost 9 hours to complete one loop.
Okay, and that is 18.9 thousand light years away. Okay, you know, that was kind of close. We got that one pretty quick there.
In comparison, making the same trip around the Sun would take...
I mean, we do only have like 6,000 years of Earth recorded history, but this one's 18.9 thousand light years away because of the gigawatt flux capacitor times the crystals in the square root of the frequency radar that shoots out, and we can see this. You know what I'm saying?
Only 14.5 seconds. Some estimates put Stephenson 2-18 at being 2,150 times the radius of the Sun. But according to the stellar evolutionary theory, that might be problematic, because there could also be a theoretical limit to how big stars can apparently grow. According to the theory, the limit a star can grow is around 1,500 times the radius of the Sun. This could mean that Stephenson 2-18 has been overestimated, possibly due to its distance from Earth being uncertain by as much as 50%, which, like UY Scuti, would significantly...
Yeah, you know, I would say there's probably a degree of uncertainty with the science. I mean, what would you put
At
it
least
at?
they're not, saying it's a definite, that
You know, there could be some uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give it like probably, what, 80%, 70% certain?
They said 50.
Oh, 50. They're 50% certain. Okay. Do you mean 0.0000050 of 1% certain? Yeah, maybe it's more like that.
alter its estimated size. But then again, as far as I could find, there is no clear-cut equation that determines how big a star can grow, since it depends not only on mass, but composition, evolutionary history, and the strength of its stellar wind.
Holy
For potential
macaroni.
giant stars, such as Stephenson 2-18, the outer atmosphere can...
mean...
Makes us insignificant.
Yeah,
in theory, continue to puff up. and grow essentially without limit. However, at some point, the diffuse gas of its outer layers becomes merged with the interstellar medium.
That's real footage of the sun right there, baby. That's because the sun's like 3,600 miles away. We can get that. We actually probably could get that footage right there. Just zoom in with the telescope.
And cannot really be regarded as the stellar surface. So when it comes to measuring the size of a gigantic star, it turns out that it's no easy task. These objects are, of course, extremely big, thousands to millions of times the volume of the sun, are extremely far away, and are extremely luminous.
Don't ask questions. Don't question the science. All right. Love you guys, baby.